Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Crimson Curse, but it's actually the Crimson Clash. So we are right and ready to go. Right as rain, I am joined by one and only Markthius to present to you Team Rankstar's very first tournament series for Gwent called the Crimson Clash. And what better environment than on the heels of the release of Crimson Curse, which has been doing away with the meta so nicely. Mark, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. Glad to be here, Flake, to host this one with you. Should be a stellar of a time. We had a great weekend with Crimson Clash, and some great players came out, and some great players made it to our top four.
Which is exactly what we were hoping for, and no doubts on that. In the game of Gwent, you can typically put a lot of your chips on the strongest horses in the race. Not many dark horses in this one. We saw that the field was quite vast. Lots of great players that signed up for this tournament, and unfortunately, not all of them made it to the top four. But here we are to present to you the top four who made it to the end to fight for all the wonderful prizes. So why don't we go take a look at those brackets right there, Mark? Show them up, throw them up there. And this is what we are left with. Now, Mark, you want to run through those names?
Sure. So in our top four, we had the Ryan Godric going up against Lord Bushwook, and Ninguno is how I'm going to say it, going up against the King Ches. Some big names here in the actually all the teams represented, if I'm not mistaken. We've got all of the three big teams represented with Artuza and Rankstar and Leviathan all being represented there. So pretty exciting, actually, to see who comes out on top.
Which is great, and this speaks to the entire theme of the tournament, which is you got to go through the Swiss rounds, you got to make sure that you got everything rocking and rolling and get to the top 8 and then eventually the top 4. And these are names that everybody is typically familiar with. Ryan Godric, no slouch in the game of Gwent. He has his streams, he has his following. This is somebody who is not a nobody. And same thing with Lord Bushwook. He has won tournaments in the past. They're going to be going head to head, and we'll see how that one shakes out. And at the same time, at the other side of the bracket, Ninguno Sirve. This is somebody who is making a name for him in his own right, going up against King Ches, who punched a ticket himself to Challenger.
Yes, and I just want to give a shout out to Team Nova as well, because they kicked some serious keister in the entire tournament. They performed really, really well, actually. So I just want to give a shout out to Nova. There were a lot of Nova players in there, so it's pretty cool to see.
Totally. Now, just to give a little bit of context to what they're fighting for, Mark, there is a first, second, and third place prize. So once we get through the semifinals there, we are going to show you the final match of the third place game, just to give you a little bit of heads up on how that one shook out. But before we get to there, Mark, do you know what the prizes are?
Moolah.
Yes.
And Dust Moolah.
There's a lot of cash money going around over here. So top prize is going to get a little bit of bank, as well as some meteorite dust and some actual premium kegs. So this isn't just for pride and glory. There's a little bit of coin on the line here. Yes, movie cards.
Movie cards.
So, Mark, if you are not delayed, how about we just jump in to the first semifinal match of Crimson Clash?
I am ready to rock and roll, Flake. Let's get to it. Our first match is going to be the first semifinal with Bushwook going up against the Ryan Godric. We have TRS up against a TA. Are you ready to rock and roll on this match?
Yes, let's tee it up.
Let's tee it up. Oh, boy, the puns today are going to be real, aren't they?
Oh, they're going to be great. So here we go. This is Queen Me versus the man himself, Henselt. This is a matchup that we don't really see, but it's a Northern Realms mirror, and we're looking right now. This would be, if I'm not mistaken, is this Ryan Godric's hand? So
yes, we're going to be looking. Yeah, we're going to be looking at Ryan Godric's side of the board, but we are going to see both hands for every match. So.
Yes, so here we go. This is a pretty strong hand to not much that you really want to be tossing away. I mean, there's the Blue Stripe Commando over there. No Blue Stripe Scout to support it. You have the Trebuchet to sort of line up a row with the Lacerate, but opting instead to get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised by that. I would have probably held on to that just so we can deny that back row, but maybe we save those for later. Might be a good idea.
It could be. He might be actually. I mean, he has the Lacerate in hand, and usually the strategy in this case would be you want to hang on to that Trebuchet so that you're pretty much pinning your opponent to the melee row. And on that case, what happens is that Lacerate could really opt for a giant, swipe at the end. But I think, given the fact that he is not on, he is on blue coin rather, there's always the opportunity of your opponent making a big play to come back. So I think he's going to hang on to that for perhaps a round 3. But he's going to begin here with putting the King of Beggars and starting to bank those those points into the hand. King of Beggars always it searches for or demands an answer from your opponent right off the bat, but he's going to be boosting it up to 5, meaning that if that card's going to be coming off the table, Mark, it's going to probably take a pretty big response.
Absolutely, and he gets the roach play out of that as well, which is really nice. Now the scary thing about King of Beggars is that he can easily get locked and removed sometimes, but when you're going up against another Northern Realms, you're in a pretty good spot to go ahead and let him sit there.
Absolutely. Now here we go. This is coming down. This is the Kedwani Revenant, always a threat if unanswered. It could get spooky and scary. That thing is going to multiply if you do not get an answer from it. But coming from the hand of Ryan Godric, you see Vest there. Vest can answer that. There are options in order to make sure that that card never gets the value it's seeking. But at the moment, with the tactical advantage, you can protect cards that might be put into the range of the Kedwani Revenant. And he's establishing right now, or thinking about it at least, that blue stripe command. But Vess is looking mighty attractive right now.
Yeah, those Kedwinnies can get super out of control if you don't take care of it early. It's happened to me so many times.
Yeah, they just keep sort of doubling up, and even when you can target your own units, really, that's a card that could, if unanswered, it really snowballs to a crazy degree. Now, this looks a bit like a feint to a degree. You want to protect that scout, but there's nothing really to put extra scouts in the deck, so no blue stripe scout to really multiply, but you're still thinning out the deck. So it looks like Ryan Godric just wants to make sure that he's getting out all the extra, the baggage out of the deck as he can. The Roach came out, another Commando's going to come out.
Okay, early Regis play there, but not bad because we got to get to make another Kedwinnie, right? So
yep, so that really that represents a lot of points over there. And again, that the Kedwani Revenant is still 3 points. That is not getting an answer right now. I think that Ryan Godric is probably thinking that he's going to be getting out of this round ASAP. He's not really committing much. He does have a bunch of thinning plays, but it looks to me like he's just going to go ahead and establish as many bronze throwaway cards as he can, maybe until he gets to a 6 or 5 card count where round 2 becomes less significant.
And a new ability hits the board with that Vitalize, is that what it's called? Vitality? Vitalizing? Vitality.
He has vitalized his commando.
He's vitalized.
By 1. Absolutely. Look at that. That vitalized commando is just going ham here. And once again, a nice little combo piece. Yeah,
here's the Kedwinnies. What did I say? Kedwinnies are going to start to get out of control.
And that's the whole, that's how they work there. You want to be able to sort of stack damage or combine damage to get an opposing unit to that magical one piece of health, so that those Kedwani's can just kind of continue to multiply. Attack of the Clones is, strong and sturdy over there on the melee row of Lord Bushwook, and he is now representing, 1 point behind, but on even cards, meaning that Godric either needs to take the pass now, or maybe because his bronze cards, it doesn't look like he's committing any golds, Mark. So I think that he's just going to probably take his chips and pass here because his bronze plays are very weak.
Right, and he's got some good. Bushwook's holding on some good thinning gold cards for later.
That is absolutely true. Cards like Vernon Roche is there. That's going to get some stuff out. Willem as well. These are cards that are going to find some value late game for some significant pushes. But as it stands right now, Ryan Godric's going to commit one more bronze card, giving vitality to the sister piece over there. The sisterhood of the traveling vitality is happening on the Range Rover there, and that might just be enough to keep him out of the way of giving him the opportunity to pass next turn and dumping another bronze card that he's not gonna. That is not gonna be clogging his hand later.
Yeah, Ryan looking through his hand here, saying, "What do I got coming up?" And
yeah,
here comes
always,
the villain.
And the villain's coming out early, which is kind of surprising because usually you want to match that up, and that doesn't look like the kind of card you want to see this early. But at the same time, Bushwook is really, really trying to. Establish that this is his round. He still has a significant amount of pieces that he can play later, and I think this is likely Ryan's pass, Mark.
Yeah, it could be. 4 is also a comfortable pass. If you get your cards down to 4, you could dry pass round 2, get your 10 back in hand, but this looks like a good pass for Ryan here.
Yeah, it just doesn't
looks like he's thinking about playing onward anyway.
I mean, Prince Anus, I was about to call it Prince Anus, but Prince Anseus is a card that I don't think is really vital to the win condition. He could always just play that right now as with the formation, getting the zeal and the boost and really pushing the tempo over here and maybe squeezing another card out of Bushwick. But I think that this might be a pass. All the other pieces look like they're quite vital to Ryan Godrick's round 3 win, if that's in the books right now. But I mean, look at the value that those Kidwanis put out. There's three of them on the board. That's not a lot of provision that each of them. So that's 9 points of body value plus the 2 damage they did. That's already 11 points. Plus there's another 12 plus the 3. That is 15 points that one Kidwani has represented. That is incredible. Now here's the problem. Here's the pass taken, and it does not look pretty, unfortunately, for our friend Ryan Godrick. But he does find 2 Trebs.
I wonder what he's going to use that. Avalok for. Are we going to use that on the Selkirk maybe?
With the Selkirk, it's very. Selkirk is less important from an aspect of immunity. I mean, it is fine if you put him on there, and you do have to wait a turn to get use of him. But Selkirk is typically a card that you're going to play late anyways, or with a boost. So I mean, Shield is one of those fantastic cards.
I think he's going to use it for one of his boosting here with the Corvo or the other one there. The name is escaping me, but Corvo there is a good Avalok target.
Oh yes, definitely. Now, again, opting once again to toss away the Trebuchet, and it looks like Bushwick is going to be pushing the tempo over here. That is a lot of commitment. 2 of the Arbalests representing 10 points plus the extra pings on the orders. And if you're looking at the cards in hand, there's a lot of cards in hand that have orders, be it the Vincent, be it the Botchling, the Mage. These are all cards that are going to add extra value to those Arbalests.
And here comes your Prince Anus card, Flake.
Prince Anus is coming out. He means business formation, giving him the power of zeal, and he's going to go ahead and go toe-to-toe with that big Arbalest and matching tempo.
Those are other cards that get out of control as well if you don't take care of them early. You think 1 damage is not a big deal, but let me tell you, that racks up with the charges. So.
Oh, for sure. And this is definitely what Lord Bushwick is looking to do with all the amazing amounts of engine pieces that sort of just stack and on orders and damage that comes into play. It could get out of hand real fast, but Brian Godrick's going to match that card with Vest, dealing that into the Nether Realm.
The Nether Realm, yeah. I thought you said Brian Godrick there for a second. I was really confused.
That's Ryan Godrick's brother.
Brian, this is evil twin Brian Godrick.
Brian Godrick did not make it to the tournament finals. There was absolutely no win trading going on between Brian or Ryan Godrick.
Right.
So this is a good chance here to mark what we're talking about, like that Selkirk now with Vest being under threat of actually losing out and dying here. Selkirk might have to come out over right now, which with the Zeal effect from Vest, this looks like a mighty fine target to go ahead and just deal with the Botchling.
Yep, yeah, definitely. Another card. Northern Realm has a lot of cards that can get really annoying, that they don't seem like a big deal, but if you just ignore it, they get so annoying, and that's another one right there.
Yeah, the Botchling, it seems almost, insignificant. You're taking 1 damage here, taking 1 damage there, but the Botchling...
It ranks up.
It absolutely does, Mark. And the thing about it is that it's such an annoying card to deal with because it's not a 2-piece removal, right? Because of the fact that its order allows it to flip its ability and really restore its health, you need 5 points of damage to deal with it straight away. Otherwise, it's really untouchable because the second that you touch it or tickle it in any way, shape, or form, it gets angry and it changes its tune.
It's like compound interest. That shit adds up.
That shit adds up. And right away, that Trebuchet is saying bye-bye, and maybe Brian Godrick might be a little bit concerned about not having the other one because there's a lot of cards in his hand that mean absolutely nothing, and he's gonna... That Corvo is losing points by the turn.
I think he was holding on to it for that round 3, but now it looks like maybe it would have been... See, he's thinking about dropping it now because it looks like Bush is gonna push this all the way in round 2.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad move to actually hit Avalok right now. But all the other cards that he's holding on to are kind of, they're long round dependent. Something like Lacerate that really loses value in short rounds. Corvo, really, he only sees, the top of the mountain when he's got 5 or 6 turns under his belt to really establish dominance.
Sure. Yeah. Corvo is an interesting card because it's only a 3 power, but it's one of those ones, again, you ignore it, it gets out of control, but it can get locked and get moved. It's stuck to the range row.
When it came into play, that's a card that I absolutely adored. I thought that card was amazing. I thought that was almost a broken card. It was really representing 2 points a turn, and it's, even though it's only 3 pieces, like, 3 points is that magic kind of zone where a lot of it's in range of so many removal cards, right?
Sure.
That 3 points. 4 is really respectable, but this looks ugly right now. And
Goodness!
It looks like,
new card, Giorgio.
Oh gosh,
that's not his name, but
Gregoire de Gorgonzola comes out and really establishes dominance, and that was a high roll of hell coming from that Vernon Roche, and Lord Bushwick is smelling blood in the water, and looks like there's really no point to even go here. Now, the one retribution could be that with a little bit of luck, that Lacerate could maybe do some damage, but take a look at that the cards that are going on in the hand of Lord Bushwick. There's a Vincent, and I mean, the value on Vincent doesn't look all that fantastic. Like, what's he connecting with? A 5?
His sword there makes some nice value on the Prince Anus there, as you called him, if he so chooses.
And Vincent with the sword actually can resurrect one of the cards that it kills. This is going to be quite spectacular. And let's not forget the brilliance of the Kinwani Revenants.
And now he's got a great Ryan still has a great last rate value. However, Gorgonzola there is not going to take any hit because of the shield. But this is again why we said earlier, maybe the Corvo drop earlier on would have been. He might have been able to hold on to this round had Corvo been on the field much earlier.
I think that it's just in a matter of how this game is played. It just seems like any Northern Realms player usually has the benefit of a long round to in their corner.
Sure.
And it could have been that Ryan Godric had thought that, in the same vein that he favors a long round, perhaps Bushwick is in the same boat as well. And that's why he wasn't necessarily committing these long round cards like Corvo early. But the way that it looks right now, there is definitely some opportunity for...
he goes for the Roach, actually. He gets another double... Oh, this is just gross. Now just gross.
The fun part about this is that Kinwani Revenant is going to connect with its own mage in the back row.
Yeah.
And a Trebuchet just for flavor.
Oh man, this is just now it's just hard to watch.
Yeah, this looks way out of reach, especially given the fact that unfortunate Corvo is just painting a picture. It looks like he's actually just taking notes about why he's being played. He's really just working out the math himself on that chalkboard over there, saying, I don't think I can do it.
Yeah, now Corvo at this stage is just not going to do it. Even the last rate, man, that's a nice last rate, but it's not going to be enough, unfortunately.
We'll see how this shapes up, but it does not look good. I mean, it's a brilliant and spectacular lacerate, but I mean, even then, the Corvo that was generating, that could have generated so much, strength over here, and now all that Corvo work is just going to be thrown away by the Trebuchet in the back row, and that is a 2-0, a 2-round pound coming off right at the beginning over there. That was actually a quite interesting match, and again, it sort of owes to the fact that, bleed to succeed in certain matchups where you suspect that your opponent, especially Meave is definitely a long round, leader, and in this case, Mark, looks like Lord Bushwick smelled that from miles away and made sure that bleed went deep and really poignant.
Yeah, it was definitely smart for Bushwick to push that round 2 there, and I think Ryan probably regretting that he didn't anticipate that. I think he really wasn't anticipating a round 2 push because he had the card advantage. So, yeah, you always got to be careful. That's why you have Corvo in hand. Just sometimes just let it go, let it happen round 2, because sometimes that's enough to get people like, oh, I can't deal with that. So
yeah, I think that once you see the Henselt come out on your beginning phase right there, and he's committing to the bleed, going down to that 7-card threshold where you really can't recover those cards sometimes, and opening up with the Henselt into the double Arbalest looks like it's one of those plays where you can probably start setting up your long round and hope for a favorable short round in round 3. But I mean, what's the point of holding on to cards if you're not going to play them, because you're not going to see round 3 either way? Game 1 goes to Lord Bushwick of Team Rankstar.
Just shows you how important round 1 really is, right? That round 1 win, so important for the tempo of the game. But yeah, first game going to Bushwick there. So shall we get to game 2? in this series?
Let's go.
All right,
Let's
rock and
roll game 2 between Lord Bushwick and Ryan Godric. And again, now another mirror of sorts. This is now a Scoia'tael mirror.
What is this, Mirror Day? What is happening?
What is this, Mirror Day? Is it Mirror Day?
Is it Mirror Day? Just to remind, just so everyone knows, the rules of this tournament were that you brought 3 decks, you didn't know what your opponent was going to be playing, and you had to play your next deck whether you won or lost. So the mirror matches like this were actually kind of common, which made it really interesting.
Yes, which was kind of exactly interesting in that regard, and not knowing what you're going up against. Usually you want to lead with your stronger decks, and right now it is an Ethne versus a Brewer list, and looks like there's a bunch of traps going on in the Brewer list. This is probably going to be, on the blue coin, Bushwick is going to be just protecting his dwarf, which kind of telegraphs to Ryan Godric that there's probably some volunteers, and there's probably going to be a short round in play over here, given the fact that you're not really protecting any engines of sort or anything. So I suspect in this round, Mark, Bushwick's probably going to drop 3 or 4 cards. The volunteers, maybe the elf, likely, maybe possibly Gimpy Gerwin. I don't know, but it looks like this is probably going to be a short round.
No one insults him, that's for sure.
Oh God, no.
Nobody insults him.
This is a good time to use the. I would suspect that the elf and archer comes out here just to get rid of the dwarf on the board. Which locks up the volunteers in the hand of Ryan Godric. But hey, we got an answer for that too.
Flake, you've heard of Elf on the Shelf. What about Dwarf on the Wharf?
Dwarf on the Wharf. I don't know. I've heard of Wharf on the Bridge of the Enterprise, but never Dwarf on the Bridge.
Dwarf on the Wharf?
I've never heard of Dwarf on the Wharf.
Gimpy looks like he's sitting on a wharf, right? Or standing on the wharf.
I guess, yeah. That poor
Dwarf on the Wharf. Anyway.
This is a good, interesting time to possibly think, do you want to establish your own volunteers over there, or you can actually use your own dwarven skirmisher to just go ahead and kill that 1 point. You're losing a lot of value, but again, you're breaking the hand and opting instead to go for the thinning play over here. And he's up on points, and with that 7 cards, again, Bushwick is going to be favoring the long round, especially with traps like Crushing Trap and the amount of movement coming in from Brewer. So we'll see how this one rolls around. But cards like Yorvith, that's not going to see any play in round 1. The Crushing Trap, the Pitfall Trap, Say Synthesis, these are all late game plays. I think the only thing that he might want to get rid, possibly use, is the Gimpy Gerwin, but he lost the opportunity there by playing the Skirmisher. And again, more thinning plays over here, Mark. No one's really committing anything but bronzes.
Yeah, this happened in the last game as well. Round 1 bronze show, pretty much. But the golds that are in their hands, you do want to definitely hold on to. Here, we're going to get our first gold here, it looks like, from Ryan. But I mean, these are kind of low tempo. I mean, aside from in Bushwick's hand with the dragon, we kind of got low tempo-ish things going on. So
yeah, it just looks like Ethlin doesn't really have a favorable target that you want to put it on. But again, at the same time, really, what else can you do? He could always just drop a movement elf and use an Ethne charge if he really wants to steal the round, but 5 points straight away. The only reason why, as you can see in that hand over there, there's Sheldon Skaggs, and Ithleen is the optimal target. Skaggs is the optimal target for Ithleen, but he's not in the hand. So dropping an Ithleen now is really, locking her potential value to 9. So I think, so we're going to probably see the Dragoon go down here, and Ithleen is going to just complete the play here and go for the pass, and that looks like how round 1 is going to wrap up over here.
So Ryan gets round 1 this time. Let's see if he wants to push round 2 and enact revenge from the last game.
Yeah, show him a little, give him a little taste of his own medicine over there. And say,
I can push too.
Absolutely. Definitely. And once again over here, there's the Skaggs, which is really, really good for that Ithleen.
See, look, he's on a wharf. Did you see that? No, he's on a ship. I'm just kidding. Now
I'm also getting word now that Gimpy is not an actual dwarf. But no, I don't know. I don't know physiology of the Witcher world.
He looks for like sure, but apparently he's not. I've been told that too. That apparently he's not actually a dwarf.
Well, we don't see dwarven race.
Yeah,
we don't
see like see I don't see it that way.
I don't see Scoia'tael race.
I'm height blind, Flake.
All right, so he has a card to burn here. I think it's probably the right play over here. He's going to deposit those points into the Skaggs bank, and those are going to come back to haunt Lord Bushwick later on. But again, with the round in the pocket and 7 cards, this likely is going to be a pass for Ithleen, for Ryan Godric and Ithleen. Ryan Godric as Ethne right now, because looking at the cards that he has, he could potentially go deep into this round if he wants to and bank on a short round with Skags with the backup of the Luigi there,
Luigi,
the resilient dwarf.
Yes.
Well, that's who was who's the other developer? Remember?
Yeah, Luigi. Yeah,
Luigi.
I think that's what you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So this could be a scenario, Mark, where the one thing I would suggest is that if Ryan Godric really wants to go deep into this round, he probably would have committed Milva by now and really gone for it. But Gabor is an option for him to just play over here. Yeah. I think.
Well, how far? What do you think he's looking for here? I mean, how far does he want to push this? Is he looking for Bushwick to push his large cards? I wonder.
Yeah, knowing that any Brewer list really suffers in a short round, because usually Brewer wants to line something up for an optimal play, but if he doesn't have targets to move, or in that regard, I think maybe he's just... I mean, this looks like a weird play with the Iflane.
He's... Oh, I thought he was going to back out of it. Yeah, I think he wants to... Oh, I thought he was going to use the sword on it, honestly. That's what it seemed like he was going to do.
This is fine, but once again, in the same regard that we saw... the Corvo lose value. Milva, once again, is just literally just melting value.
Yeah, Milva probably should have been played as the first card if you wanted to push.
Yeah, if you wanted to actually push this round, you'd want to open up with Milva, and then knowing you'll be playing cards like Sirsa and playing cards like Ithleen, and then even playing cards like Gabor, that means that your Milva represents 4 points of juice there. But Gabor at 7 just takes it out of range of a potential removal, giving him some options for down the road. This looks like his last play. I don't see how he could possibly go deeper than this. He only has the 1 charge for Ethne left, which is going to make it quite difficult for his Gorgonzola to actually for his Gregoire to get a lot of the value, get its value potential, its ceiling of 10.
You've been calling him Gorgonzola. I've been calling him Giorgio for some reason.
Yeah, it goes by many names.
Giorgio.
Feathercap.
Feathercap guy.
Yeah, there's so much that we can possibly talk about over here. Nonetheless, I mean that putting the extra points from the Sirsa onto the Gabor. And I'm saying Gabor. Luigi is what we call him, nonetheless. Just protecting those points into the next round. Again, I still am curious if he really wants to be pushing this, why the Milva was not played earlier. I think that Ryan Godric might be, not confused necessarily, but unsure himself whether this is what he wanted to do, whether he wanted to be pushing so late.
Yep. There's always a point when pushing around that I feel like this is right here would be Ryan's round where it's like, you either go, okay, I could either keep going, but I have to commit to all my cards, or I need to call it here. Because there's a point in a push where it's just like, you're not going to be able to get... I mean, you're looking for a push where you're looking for your opponent to go down by a card or even it out, right? And there always comes a point where you're like, the points are not going to quite get there, and I'm going to end up having to pass on a them being up by a card. So this might be the spot. And it looks like he's thinking about it. So I would say this is probably a good pass, yeah. Because it forces Bushwick to play the other card, and we go down to 5-5, right?
Correct. But what this does also is Gimpy Gerwin's going to go ahead and connect, and the trap's going to go off, meaning that carryover is now completely useless. And, moving on to the round 3 now, they're even at cards, and the lovely part here now is that, Ryan Godric has the benefit of last say, but his cards might not be all that spectacular. There are some options here. He has the 7-point Gabor, Sheldon, and
he's fishing for those two, as he's showing us here. He was fishing for those for Barnabas there, and who was the other one?
Synthesis, yeah, and he clearly he knows he's on stage now because he's doing us all a favor by letting us know a little bit about what's going on. But you're right. I mean, looking at the options,
and he wanted those too, I guess.
Barnabas is not a bad play in this case.
That's actually I think what he was looking for. So it's good that he grabbed that.
Definitely. I mean, of the ones that you could have got, that's probably your best one. You do have a Dryad, you have an Elf, you have a Dwarf, so it looks like that might be the last play. Yep. And the other part about this is that his Elf, his Dryad, his Dwarf, they're all pretty hefty in terms of actual strength, so getting them removed is going to be a little bit more difficult. But I mean, looking at the hand of Lord Bushwick, that Pitfall is going to be probably the wild card here. If it connects with a Sheldon Skaggs, that is going to be a turning point. We'll see how when that shakes out, but when that card comes down is going to be crucial, because I don't if you're Ryan Godric and you know that there's some traps on the table, you could probably maybe assume that there's a pitfall that's gonna happen, and you don't want to hang on to your Sheldon Skaggs to the point where that trap comes down and suddenly your Sheldon Skaggs went from 14 points potential value down to a fat 0.
Right, we can almost call that Barnabas a brand new card because it's getting value out of this new expansion. Like I never see anyone play this card, and then with Crimson Curse, we got way more Dryad tags and all that fancy schmancy things. So finally, Barnabas gets some value.
Oh, hell yes. Oh, Barnabas is coming into play, being the Harmony coming in and really diversifying decks with Dana. But not only that, people are realizing that, you know what, that's not a bad card, especially since there are some pretty significant, Dryads and the rise of Sheldon Skaggs being just such a powerhouse in decks.
It's an auto. It's almost an auto include in Scoia'tael.
It has to be, because I mean, look at when you're building a deck, you want to get value out of your 4-point provision cards, right? So the Dwarven Agitator connecting with Sheldon Skaggs turns it from a 4-point ceiling to a 6-point ceiling card, and increases Sheldon Skaggs as a really, really beneficial finisher here.
Regis, another neutral that's pretty much almost auto include. I'd say Regis and Gorgonzola there are probably like the two almost auto includes I've seen on the ladder more than anything else.
Now, here's a really, really great thing. He is looking to maybe go and connect that wonderful sword onto the Ithleen and really get a crap ton of value.
That's a good play.
This is top level stuff over here. He knew about it, and suddenly that sword represents the 5 points from the Ithleen plus the additional 8 on the Sheldon Skaggs. But here's the thing, Mark, is the thing about the Sheldon Skaggs is that in reality, you're bringing it up to an 11, and you're really hoping that your opponent himself has something that big and fat.
Who's he going to target? The other Skaggs, probably.
Yeah, it's
right?
going to be
the only,
It's going to be another sad story of Skaggs on Skaggs crime, ladies and gentlemen. But that's with Last Say, that's the benefit of it. But keep in mind, Pitfall is always a real threat right now.
See, now I've said this before with photosynthesis there, as I call it, that dragon. If they kept the immune tag off, like when you use that ability, if they kept it off for an entire turn to give your opponent a chance to deal with it, that would have been a very interesting mechanic. But unfortunately, as soon as your turn's over, it goes right back to being immune. So Ryan's not going to be able to get any value with Skaggs on that, because that would have been probably the largest unit to deal with outside of the other Skaggs. So he is relying a lot. I don't know, Bushwick's got some interesting things there. He's got triple trap action, or what I like to call the Admiral Akbar effect with the triple traps.
Oh, man, we all know how that one worked out.
Yeah.
Let's find out over here. He's going to go ahead and grab the traps over there. We don't know what they are. It's a secret to us as well, but we know it's not a pit trap. So it could actually be a tree ant. It could be a burning trap. There's so much going on over here, but we'll see how this one works out. This just looks like a standard. That's an interesting... Oh, I see how this is going to happen. He's going to be connecting next turn. He's pretty much fishing out the pitfall trap. And not damaging the agitator in the back means that he's going to be probably connecting Ethne to set up the Gregoire for the max range here. Now, again, Pitfall is an absolute beast of a card right now, and Bushwick is really taking his time to make sure that this works out.
Here comes the scale.
Now, no Pitfall trap. This could be the best opportunity that Ryan Godric is going to have.
Yeah, he needs to drop. Yep, he needs to drop it now, because otherwise that is just... Yeah, the double Pitfall as your final turn is probably the most disgusting play in all of Gwent right now, because Ryan's last 2 cards are pretty vital, and they're just not gonna do anything.
Yeah, and this is an immense turn of events over here, because the other thing about it is that, I mean, yeah, Pitfall's great, but it doesn't gain you any points. It just prevents some points. So when you're already playing from behind, that Pitfall, as cool as it is and as powerful as it might seem, is really getting you absolutely dick right now, because, frankly, you're down by 9 points. So what is going on? You're just denying. You're staying at 9 points. So Pitfall comes in, says goodbye, Dwarfy.
And that's the thing about Pitfall, is it doesn't even... The other trap is better because you at least get to your ability. Pitfall denies the ability from taking place at all. So it's really... detrimental card here, and man, it looks really good for Bushwick here, because he's just going to replay that Pitfall. He's going to use his Brover probably on photosynthesis there. Or it doesn't even matter, I guess. And I'm guessing that middle trap is probably the horn, right?
It's most likely the horn, which means that is a steal and a half that's going to happen here. You guys don't forget the horn value, but like right now, that Gregoire...
Yeah, Gorgonzola doesn't get any value, and it gets killed anyway. And it was the horn. Oh, Oof.
What a steal. That was masterfully played by Mr. Lord Bushwick himself. Yeah. Again, traps are scary. That double, pitfall trap towards the end mark really can change the tides, because a lot of people like to hang on to their finishers towards the end. And like I mentioned, when we started the round, is that it's when you play your Skags that really things are going to change. And connecting Skags on Skags action.
Skags on Skags.
Just Skags on Skags on Skags. And
exactly.
what happens in this case is that you're actually getting as much value as you possibly can out of those cards. Fantastic. But again, pitfall trap. Pitfall trap means that your last two cards are completely just nothing, and then the horn comes in and just sounds the victory in your favor. So I really liked how that one was played.
Yeah, Bushwick played very well. I will say though, I think Ryan in that second game did play to the best that he could with what he had in his hand. There's nothing you can really do about those traps, so it is what it is. I mean, the only thing you could do is he did try to push the round 2 to maybe get some of those traps out if he was, but man, Brover with traps is just nasty, just too nasty.
And again, when you go to long rounds with Brewer with traps, he has opportunities to set up what he wants to do, move some things around, get those crushing traps maximized for value, find the horn. But again, both players had pretty optimal hands, and there were some pretty significant plays that Ryan Godric made to really maximize his opportunity there. Unfortunately, pitfall trap. If Ryan Godric had not. If Bushwick had not found the pitfall trap, that would have been a landslide in the other direction, and there's not much you can do about that. But c'est la vie, that's how it goes.
C'est la vie. Anyway.
All right, Mark. So I think that we got to give a little bit of a dap to the sponsors of the tournament. And, this is Crimson Clash presented by Team Rankstar.
Yes.
But there are some sponsors and some people that we need to thank on the other side. So how about we just go ahead and give us a mad dap to Inked Gaming. Inked Gaming is our chief sponsor, our, captain of the sponsorship, of the USS sponsorship over here. Inked Gaming, as you can see over there, some sick stuff you can get at inkedgaming.com. Playmats, binders, and all that jazz. And right there is the Team Rankstar official mouse pad of produced by Inked Gaming. So thanks to Inked Gaming for really giving us a solid shake at this, and for sponsoring the prize pool for this tournament for Crimson Clash. So again,
look at your fancy merch, your custom merch.
Yes.
Yeah, anyone can do that, right? Anyone can custom.
Absolutely. Anybody can go to inkedgaming.com, customize whatever the hell you want. And that's what I did. I gave him my designs. I showed him. And then the next time I went to the local game store, I impressed all the 12-year-olds.
Yeah, you said, customize this.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing like slamming down a Carnage Tyrant on turn 6 to really, confuse your opponent when they tell you that they're playing Pokemon and you're playing Magic. Yeah. Right. So there you go. inkedgaming.com to get all your cool stuff right there.
All the cool stuff. Hey, let's take another look at that fancy schmancy opening logo, because it was so neat.
Do it. Ooh la la. How beautiful was that? Wonderful. Crimson Clash, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Though the matches were pre-recorded, we are live.
Yes, we are live. We are live. But these matches were played on Saturday, and we had a little hiccup yesterday, but we're here today to bring you all the action. It's okay. Yes. We're here now. That's what's important.
We got a new hamster for the wheel, and it's looking good. That said, though, we are ready to go to the next match, and this is the second semifinal match with, again, you might know these names. This is Ninguno Survey versus King Ches. Mark, what can you tell us about these two wonderful people?
Oh boy, one is, I almost thought it was Nova, but I don't believe he is Nova. But King Ches is representing Team Leviathan. And it should be a pretty good matchup. King Ches has been a powerhouse in a lot of the tournaments recently. He also recently just became the newest challenger entry, doing he won the what do they call it? The qualifier, the challenger qualifier. Boy, correct. I blinked a lot on that whole sentence.
What are you, crazy?
So without further ado, before I blank again, let's just get on over to the match.
Yes, so this one over here is going to be Chezzy versus let's just call him Survey. Let's call him NS. Survey.
NS.
And, Chessy's going to be representing Skellige versus my girl, Kernakora. More tits, more class is what I say about Kernakora. So this looks like a pretty sturdy hand. Now, those Dimeridium bombs are most likely going to be finding a seat. The problem right now is that Coral has a bunch of special cards that she can dip out.
Now, I wonder if he brought the bombs as just throwaways, or if he legit thought that there was going to be a lot of artifact action. That's because two of them is, ooh, boy, that can block you up pretty hard.
Really? Well, that's what I'm saying, is that the double Dimeridium bombs can be significant.
Well, they're firepower for Coral, right? So
Correct. Now, again, the problem is well, I call it a problem, but the special scenario in this tournament, as we said, is that there are no bans and there's no prior knowledge to what you're playing against. You just play your three decks.
No, never mind.
And there's no rules. Exactly. And it's going to be, it's all decided in a ladder match.
Yeah.
So
we flip a coin.
So we're opening with a standard, discard card, getting some optimal thinning coming out of the deck. The skirmisher hits the front row. Just standard Skellige things.
There's another auto include I've been seeing in almost everything as well as Count Caldwell there, almost in every deck now, which is an interesting card because he is risky, where he will move to the other side of the board if you do not hold. Oh, look, he's highlighting it for us. It's almost as if King Chaz heard me.
It's like he knew.
It's like he knew. It will go to the other side of the board if you do not have the highest unit on your side, and he does count as a unit himself. So it is a risky card to play, but I have been seeing it a lot because the value is just unbelievable. It's a 10. What's the provision on that? I think it's only
8
like
provision,
an 8,
10,
right?
10 cost cards.
It's crazy value.
That's totally in my wheelhouse. I've been playing a lot of Gurnakora. This entire ranked season, I played Gurnakora, and taking her to pro rank was not necessarily the easiest thing, but it was the most satisfying thing.
Sure.
Because Count Caldwell, for 8 provisions, you're not going to get much better, especially with a go tall deck like Gurnakora, with the options like the Brewis that can consume to get top dog, with the amount of other cards that are available in order to shave down your opponent's cards to protect Caldwell. In this case, I don't see how Caldwell can actually stay on the board on that side.
Right, and I was going to say, against monsters, Caldwell's actually risky because you not only have the Thrive going on, but monsters are notorious for playing tall units to attract that Caldwell over. And here we go. As you see, Servo's going to go ahead and attack Caldwell because he's going to try to get that number down below 8. So he can try to fancy it over to his side, if you will.
Yeah, well, he's already, he's already well on his way because of the fact that he's got the Spear Tip asleep at 9. That is a steal on the Caldwell, and the Wyvern coming down, giving Caldwell a little bit of a haircut there, and making sure that that Chezzy knows that he's there, so to speak. That he sees the Caldwell and he's hungry for the Caldwell.
I see our Caldwell. I acknowledge it.
Yeah, Gurnakora is looking, right across the board, right at him, and might want to take a little bite of that puppy dog there.
Delicious puppies.
And some more thinning plays going on. The skirmisher hits the board, and here comes the Savage Bear. Is going to make
this card. Let me tell you how annoying Savage Bear is. Okay, it's probably the most annoying Skellige card I've ever seen, and it's another one in every Skellige deck because the value is so amazing. You get one of those bad boys in your graveyard, your next one gets 2 hits. That's 4 damage. I mean, that's just great. That's fantastic.
It's 4 damage broken up into 2 pieces that you can spread around as you wish. It is just such a powerful card. And
Ches just set up for the nice Gorgonzola play there if he so chooses.
Absolutely. Now, the Gorgonzola plays might be a little bit suboptimal because you're going to be connecting with a Foglet that's going to come out and replace itself for some extra value. But at the same time, Gorgon is going to come out and get the 10, the 10 spot on the board, protecting the Caldwell. But in this case, this could be a just wonderful steal. All this needs right now is a play from the Spear Tip to come out and make this happen. At the same time, he could go ahead and consume his Cyclops.
Yep. Oh. Now it's not a bad. Oh, that was a good play. It's not a bad pass to on 7, right? Because you could potentially get the win. But the problem with passing on 7, and I've always thought, is that my opponent can still drop down to 4 and dry pass round 2, and we're back at 10. Correct. So there's always that risk,
Yeah, but at that point, that means that you're, in the case of Skellige right now, if you're passing at if your opponent's going down a couple cards to get to 4 and then dry passing, it just means that you're playing a long round 3.
Right.
And Gurnakora might not be the best leader for going into a long round. Monsters don't necessarily win that battle all the time. Skellige can really get some damage done in a long round, especially with something like Coral and the other cards that are available. They can really do some damage. But monsters, on the other hand, they are really, really in their element when they're playing, 9-point slams for 3 turns in a row to really squeeze the life out of you. But in this case,
right.
We'll see how this works. If Survey is going to go ahead and actually press the bleed button and take it the distance in round 2.
Yeah, let's see what happens here. Actually, and I only disagree with you slightly on that. I think actually, of all the monsters aside from Woodland, I think Gurney's actually pretty good at pushing around because you do get that Thrive unit that you keep bringing back, and You give some more value to your graveyard if you consume later, so it's not
That's
always
true.
a bad idea, you know?
That's true. If you're, I mean, you can survey your hand and see what you have. If you have several Thrive units and you think that they're going to be able to stick, they're really going to, turn into vital pieces to getting long round victories. However, in the long run, I mean, just looking at his hand right now, cards at like 12-point card. You have a 12-point spear tip. You have that ghoul, which represents not much until round 3 because of the fact that the griffin's not really there. But the griffin itself is going to go ahead and it's going to bite the dust eventually. So that the ghoul is worth 9 points. The spear tip is worth 9 points. The Ozrel is worth a lot of points. I would suspect that there's going to be a push here. He might actually go ahead and commit a big card like the big spear tip so that he can eat it later, but we'll see how this works. Unfortunately for Survey right now, however, that griffin is looking mighty tasty for our good friend. You know his name. You love him.
Mr. Gorgonzola.
Sir Gorgonzola is going to come out for the cheesy play.
Well done. I should have put a laugh track. I should have had a laugh track ready.
We're just gonna rely on the fact that the chat is probably just yakking it up. They're so hilarious.
I can hear the eye rolls.
Oh, there's tons. And unfortunately, Coral connected with a Gurnacora fruit that just comes right back. Another apple off the tree, no big deal. And there comes the Thrive effects. That is a lot of Thrive effects. I mean, meaning that this is probably going to be pushed.
That werewolf there is probably one of the best cards for Thrive because it's immune and it's only 5 provision cost. It's the lowest gold provision, I believe, still, if I'm not mistaken.
Have you
that werewolf there?
Did you watch an episode of Gwent Trivia once upon a time? Where that was a question that we had?
Yeah. We spent a while looking for that one.
We did.
And we were like,
I like that question.
That was a good question.
But is it? And we were like, looking, how can it be?
How could this be?
That werewolf is actually gets a lot of work done. Just the fact that, I mean, a 4 strength immune unit for 5. Sure, that doesn't sound all that tasty, but the fact that gets up to 6, 7, 8, those are protected points. There's nothing really you can do here. And now it looks like the bear is probably going to hang on to those points as it does because it's not finding an optimal target right now. And I think that Ninguno knows that there's going to be a Gorgon coming out. So one of the potential ways to get rid of it is to just Cyclops it the 1 point away into something else. But looking at that hand with the Geralt in hand, it looks like that Gorgonzola really does not scare him at all because he has an immediate response to it.
Yeah, and Ches is just going to bear with it and hold on to that bear there.
Dear Lord.
I'm sorry.
Dear Lord.
I couldn't help it.
Please help it. So in this case, I mean, now here's the other thing about it is that when we're talking about Skellige and cards that you just want to pack in there that you're probably going to discard, a lot of those turn into special cards. And we saw the 2 Dimeridium bombs, but now in the hand, what are we seeing? We're seeing spores, and usually spores might not be the best play that you can make. But in this case, I think that Chesy's going to hang on to it, knowing that there might be ghouls down the road, knowing that there might be an Ozrel down the road. That spores is going to get a crap ton more value than you might immediately suspect.
There's the Gorgonzola.
Yeah, Gorgonzola comes out. This is probably an immediate response with Geralt, but rather, he's probably going to save it for a little while. There's no reason to tip your hand right now. So look, he's highlighting it. He knows that that's going to be a thing, and I wonder if the ghoul is going to bait out the spores here. But again, both players not needing necessarily to actually play these cards, and Ninguno probably kicking himself. Maybe
now that was a really smart. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was a really smart play there because he used that card on Gorgonzola there to take the shield, so nothing damaged, and then he applied that damage to the other side. That was actually really smart.
Which is a great play. The K-Nut onto the Gorgon is really an optimal play that you can possibly make there because you're damaging it by 5, but the shield protects it, and then you're just chucking it on the other to the other side. But at the same time now, that could have never been a thing had the Geralt come down sooner. And I kind of suspect that there's wondering why you'd hang on to it. I guess to maybe catch your opponent off guard later, but we'll see how this one rolls. There's still tons of cards that can be played.
You saw Ches and Servo, they're highlighting almost their next plays there. Servo's thinking about his Aussie, while Ches here was debating between what he just dropped and I forgot the name of the other card, but that three guy that takes from your graveyard. The name is escaping me. Forgive me.
Oh, Xavier? Are you talking about the one
right there? That's one. Great.
Oh, Yalmar.
Yeah.
Wow, this guy Chessie's on fucking like on point with the with finding the cards that we're talking about. This guy's like some type of savant. It's like he knows. And there's the spores coming in for 10 points of spray right there. That's pretty significant. Maximizing those otherwise throwaway cards. But there it goes.
Geraldo making an appearance.
And our good friend Survey has come from the school of Gurnakora's, where the mantra is bleed to succeed. He knows what's up. Now, here's the point. Now, if Yuta comes out, she's going to take a smash of 6, but there she goes. Still lots to bleed. I wonder what's going to happen in this case. Now, the fun part about this is that Hjalmar can steal it, but there's not much else coming up from the other side of the... There's an 8. The 8 can do some work, but he only needs 6, but there's no other option, so he's going to have to go ahead and connect there. Lucky for him, there was a fat enough target to actually do it.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a lot of push there.
I liked how this went.
Surprising, yeah.
That's what Gurnakora does best. Monsters can really, they can quote-unquote thrive in the short rounds, and as you can see in the hand over there's a lot of thrive units. He got away from the Necker, and I mean, now that the other end of the spectrum here, looks like Chessie really hit the jackpot with the cards that he found over here, because Yuta is going to come back. You can go ahead and discard that the Morkvarg, so this could be a close one, my friends.
I feel like Servo should have maybe played everything. I think he could have squeezed out the win there in round 2.
It's definitely possible. You can take a look at it later, and we can we didn't do the math at the time, which is not what we're paid for.
Should have done the math.
Should have done the math, but oh my goodness, he really went deep on this one, and we'll see how this plays out. But looking at the other side of the board, that Caldwell might not be.
Yeah. See, this is why I said he should have went all the way, because now Ches is just gonna. I mean, he's got. This is the thing. If you don't push Skellige hard enough in round 2, they got so many round 3 weapons that are just disgusting, as you see right there. Bringing back a 12. He's got the Mork that he just discarded to come back. He's got a lock sitting there. It's a 6. He's gonna draw 2 more cards. Like, look at this. My God, he's got another bear coming through. Like, this is just insane.
There's an absolute just arsenal of cards that Skellige can and if you don't have them, you can go ahead and discard and get them. Like, that's the beauty of that entire faction, is that they are so consistent with cycling through their decks to find what they need to win. But now on the other hand, there is a crone in there. I think that's the boosty crone. The boosty crone is in there. Is that we are damage. So the damage crone,
the damage.
Wispus is going to come down and really put some work onto the Yuta, meaning that Caldwell is going to find a little value. Now, I'm never a fan of making that play until you're protected, but there was no other option, because the second that Caldwell went down, it was going to the other side. Now, here's the other thing is, there's going to be some damage happening, and the last play comes down, which is a magnificently huge play by Survey, and with the Thrive abilities,
he gets it. He still gets it.
I'm telling you, Thrive is the real deal over here, Mark. That's just, I love my Gurnakora list.
You got to thrive to stay alive, right?
You got to thrive to stay alive, and you got to bleed to succeed. There's just, those are the bumper stickers we sell at the Monster Convention. And in that case, I mean, that was the right way to do it, because in today's Gwent, with the amount of engine pieces that exist, a lot of factions like to play the long game and really maximize the synergies and generate points, but Monsters doesn't give 2 craps about that, because they're able to slam down a plethora of cards that have no significance to one another, that just put down 7, 8, 9 points on their own. So those short rounds really, really become dangerous when you're playing against Monsters.
I think Servo could have probably, like we said, and we got to go back and look at it again, but I think that Servo could have actually gotten the 2-0 there if he had dropped his spear tip. But nevertheless, got it going. So big props to him. He bled till the point where he felt safe enough to pass, and he did. And even though the fact that Chessie actually had a magnificent draw towards the end, it was no match for the amount of Thrive units and just pure beef that was being thrown onto that barbecue over there of just 12 points here and 10 points there, and the Thrive points coming out to really make a statement. So it's what was for dinner.
Oh, it was what was for dinner, and Chesy was eating it hard in that one. So we're going to go to the next match right now, and this is going to be another Scoia'tael Mirror.
Oh, boy. Scoia'tael Mirror Day.
It's Scoia'tael Mirror Day, but this is the first time we get to see Dana in action against the Brewer list. Chesy representing the Brewer and against Survey's Dana list. And in the hand right now are some, again, cards that you can be comfortable throwing away. And now Roach is going to go to take a hike over here.
The non-premium. What's going on here, Ches? Why don't you have a premium Roach?
Yeah, can someone contact CDPR? We cannot have this this monstrosity happening over here. No, that is just Bush League over there. A non-premium Roach is like.
Now that is no way for a challenger qualifier to
no.
To have a non-premium Roach.
You can't do that. That's like stealing bases in a t-ball game. You just don't do it.
Yeah, don't do it. You could, but you just don't.
Yeah, that's just Bush League. So looking at the list right now, what Chesy's got, he's got 2 agitators, but no home for those points, ideally, unfortunately. But at the same time, he's going to establish this Hawker Smuggler on the melee row and start rolling some points. And on the other side, I mean, it looks like it's just going to be a matchup. And the thing about this is that Ninguno is, like we said, remember in the other match where the Milva was just melting away points and just rotting in hand? At this point, he decides to go ahead and establish it early. And that opposing Hawker Smuggler is met by a Dragoon, which is then put back by a Dragoon, and I'm sure the Hawker Smuggler is just nauseous by now.
This is the classic Scoia'tael mirror match ping pong, as we're gonna call it, where you play things that are locked to a row, we move it around, you move it back. Look at this, ping pong time. This time at least he locks it, so if it gets moved again, that doesn't do anything. So.
Oh, please. Can someone please get this guy a premium Roach? This is absolutely disgusting. We'll see how this one plays out, but we might actually have to up the pricing to maybe take away some meteorite powder or give him more to actually transmute that Roach, because this is actually embarrassing.
He's actually got a couple of non-premium cards in the squad. I'm wondering, I feel like Scoia'tael may have been Chesy's last, I don't know, faction that he went for, because he doesn't have any premiums in here, which is surprising. It's surprising. I would have thought he had all premiums.
I will say this, though. I mean, there's going to be an intervention happening. And in this case, the agitator comes down and unfortunately finding the home of another agitator. Those points might not even ever be played, depending on whether he finds his Skags or not. Nonetheless, right now, it's 24 points for Survey. That boar is going to be jumping around as well and putting some work in on the Hawker Smuggler, finished off by the Sur. So
that boar is such a nasty new card.
It is a nasty new card, and if we're looking at what was being played over here, Survey is really putting in some work on the board with the Milva, with the boar, saying that he wants to play the long game in this round and he's committed to winning it. And that's the pass from Chesy, and he's
he's highlighting the boar there, tickling the boar,
tickling his own boar, which
sounds horrible.
That gets you kicked off the subway if caught promptly.
Yeah.
So the good news here is that agitator is going to find a home with that Mahakam defender, and there's a lot of cards over here. Broccolon Sentinel also getting the boot out of the hand, and we'll see how deep this one goes. Now, we have seen Chesy get bled to death in the first game of this series, but we're going to see how this one shapes up, because again, Brewer lists typically do like to play the long game, so we'll see if Dana also is gonna give him that pass early so that they can go ahead and have it duke it out for a long round 3.
We need a card called in Scoia'tael called Rob, so I can finally call him Broccoli Rob for broccolini, right? Broccoli Rob.
All right, so 2 points being deposited in the Mahakam National Bank, no problem.
Mahakam National. They have a great money market.
Now, here's an interesting part. Chesy can go ahead and toss another card on the board if he wants to. Do you think he doesn't really have anything that would be considered dead though the next round? So that might be a risky. I mean, do you want to lose? I don't know. I guess if you want to get all 3 draws, but you get the extra mulligan now. I was gonna go for it anyway, I guess. Now it's interesting, like you said, because these points that would otherwise be probably jumping onto something like Sheldon Skaggs are now finding targets that were not meant for those points. It's like, you know, it's like found money in a sense. These cards are really thankful to find those points. They know that they're not theirs. Now that other defender's probably going to bite it as well. The Sentinel, these are really bad draws for Chezzy, unfortunately. Yeah. But the good news is that he does have some engine pieces up that are going to get some work done. The Boar is going to put some work in. The Mahakam Defender is going to get some work in. He might actually be hoping to find...
Servo's got a trap, though.
That's going to be good.
He's even highlighting it.
Speaking of traps right there, is we have a crushing trap that has just got mulligan for, and Brocklon Sentinel is likely also going to go ahead and take a dive. Now, this could be interesting. Now, in terms of long round potential, we have the Hawker Smuggler beefed up to 8. That's going to put in some work. If it can catch that other Mahakam Defender in hand, that is definitely significant. Treant Boar is going to get you 2 points every couple turns. There's definitely some opportunities here for these cards to find some homes. Yeah. Now, there's also we should note the Ale, the Golden Froth there can boost up the Mahakam Defenders, so those can also get some work done as well. I think that in a long round, Chezzy is looking pretty good here.
Oh, that brings me back to the old Drunk Bahookies days. Remember those, Flake? Remember the Drunk Bahookie days?
3 rows of Golden Froth and a whole bunch of nonsense.
Oh, yeah. I miss old Golden Froth and old Ancestor Ale.
So there is Saskia, looking mighty proud on the range row. She's going to be doing some damage. There are some significant amount of, the harmonization of the hand is looking great. We've got Dryads, we've got Elves, we've got Dwarves.
It's a very harmonious hand.
Absolutely, but that elf is already going to go ahead and start putting some work in. And
Chess does not like that. He says, "No, we're going to get rid of that thing right now."
No, that's like, probably a smart move. Yeah. That thing is going to get some work done real long term. So it should be interesting how this one plays out. Now, the problem with this is when you have a lot of engines, Mark, you're always sort of up against the clock to actually get them to hit the board to really find value.
Sure.
So his hand is kind of locked into a particular sequence here. He's going to have to play the Hawker Smuggler, the Mahakam Defenders. So those are 3 turns in a row that he really needs to sort of think about now, because otherwise those cards are really not going to get anything done.
Right.
But this is a good time. This is a really non-committal play. There's nothing threatening on the board as it is. So now you can start establishing your own engines, which he's going to do with the Hawker Smuggler.
Yeah, I mean he's still got Chess has a great hand here with he's got the boosting he's gonna have going on. He's still waiting on Ale. I'm not sure why. I would start putting that out now to get the value. Maybe he's concerned about artifact removal, but he's still got the Volunteers, which is gonna be a nice 6-point play. I would honestly drop the Ale soon, because you want to get the most value out of that Ale, right? Because it's every 3, or it has a cooldown of 2, so you want to get that generating here before it's too late.
Yeah, this is that kind of engine math that you got to worry about. When you have too many engines, you're wondering what's the best way to maximize their potential or dodge threats. I would probably suspect at this point that this is going to be either Ale or a Mahakam Defender, but at this point, who knows? I mean, but like you said,
highlighted the Ale there, so he's going to move that one back. That's actually a good idea. So move Smuggler back. This way you still get some value out of that, and then maybe drop your Ale. That might be a good idea. That might be a good play there.
And
here we go. There we go.
he's not playing any removal cards, right? So that trap is just as Survey sort of floods the board with units. That trap will always find value. So the Brewer, the proactive Brewer buffs on your side are not necessarily wasted damage from a trap that goes off, because the fact that those rows are probably going to be 4 or 5 deep by the end of it anyway, so you're always going to find value from those traps. And Hawker Smuggler going to again putting some points, dropping some coin on that Mahakam Defender.
That card, that new card there, that Dryad, they're so good. If you play it right and you drop cards to the right of it, or I'm sorry, to the left. Yeah, no. I'm wrong. To the right.
Well,
I forgot which side. But anyway, it's going to keep boosting your entire row if you just keep doing that. It's just going to keep bouncing over to the side and boosting. It's such a great card, especially like you'll see here. That's it. Just if you don't take care of it early, it's another one of those cards. Just you got to answer. You got to have an answer. And unfortunately, Ches kind of does have an answer if he decides to move it, which he looks like he's thinking about doing here. But that's really the only option he has.
I'm really curious about how this one's going to go. he could combo this up and just move that to the front row, and then kill it with his skirmisher.
Well, if he leaves the other guy, if he leaves that other elf in the back, I think he should move the other one, because that one is boosting every time that card moves. So he should think about actually moving the other one.
Well, this is going to be interesting, because now that he's going to move the Dryad Matron to the front, it's going to take a boost. It's going to take 2 damage, get a boost by 1, and then it's going to die.
Okay, yeah. No, he moved it to the front so he could just get rid of it.
Yeah.
But Servo does have a second one, so that whole thing may be null and void here.
It's fine though. I mean, I think this is going to come down to a really, really tall board. Those point totals are really going to inflate to crazy levels, especially when you're playing another elf on the board. That's going to help with the movement engine going. That matron is just going to continue to shuffle to the side, making her way towards the exit every single time. The sentry comes down, boosting it by 2, by 1, by 2. That's a 3-point engine per turn now.
Now he's going to get... Ches has really good value here out of his, not only Akvist, but his trap, and also Servo will get some good value out of his trap. But actually, I think Ches is in a really good spot here. He's up by a lot. I mean, it might be too much for Servo to catch up on.
And what's amazing about this entire scenario right now, Mark, is the fact that we're going to see the famed and fabled and devastating Mahakam volunteer finisher. It's going to be a
3-point slam.
It's going to be like a 10-point Mahakam defender finisher. Who knew that would be the case?
Who knew?
I didn't know. Did you know, Mark?
I didn't know.
If you knew, you didn't tell me. It's not in the show notes. You son of a
Beware the defender.
Now, again, those engines have really changed the tide here for both players. It's closer than it looks, folks, because there's a trap on both sides. So there's going to be some damage being done. It's going to get ugly. And the difference in this case is that while the engine is going to be ticking for Chezzy for another 3 points this turn, 1, 2, 3, as you can see it right there, unfortunately, that matron is only going to generate 2 points because it's not going to boost the trap. No. So there's a point lost right there, but still, nonetheless, there are definitely a lot of opportunity for both sides here.
Yep, the Admiral Akbar effect in full swing with double traps on the board, and I think honestly, Ches gets more value because he also gets the Akvist hit. 70 to 37 is just
Oh, it's worse than that, friend. It is worse than that.
72 to 27. I stand corrected. Even with our Barnabas here, it's just not going to be enough. Just not going to be enough.
But look how close it gets. It's going to get closer than it looks, friends.
It got kind of close, actually. 62 to what? 44, I think is what that ended at. 62, 44, yeah.
62 to 44. So that's an 18-point deficit that was once like a 50-point deficit. So engine decks with big finishers and all kinds of craziness. Like I said, there are decks that just thrive off of long rounds, and we just saw 2 of them over there, and they both drew well. And with the engine pieces going, eventually it comes down to a matter of who can generate the most passive points from the Hawker Smuggler, from the Mahakam Defenders, etc. To the point where you got to make sure that you're really maximizing. And the fact that Bruver versus Dana. Bruver has the ability to go ahead and even spot check certain units to make sure that they're off the board, because had Saskia hung onto the board, she would have been on their mark for an additional 8 turns. That's 16 points. So right then and there, those are points that could have put them in a closer spot with and perhaps killed a few units. So this match really came down to, I think, just the leader choices.
Yeah, absolutely. But Dana, though, is wrecking lives in the ladder right now, so not a bad decision. But up against, I think Dana does, honestly, its weakest matchup, like we just saw, is against another Scoia'tael, because it just has the tools to stay toe-to-toe with it and say, oh, you want to boost? Well, I could boost too. You want to move a unit? I can move a unit too.
Which is, so in both cases, and like you said, Dana has been polluting the ladder in a lot of ways. She has various finishers. She has that flexibility to go ahead and just pick out a big card out of your deck and say, deal with it. So there's significant amounts of opportunity for a Dana player to win. That's why she's so popular in ladder right now. Not just because there's a faction war, but she's actually kind of strong as well. But we're gonna go to the game 3 now.
Dana McBeard, as I like to call her, by the way.
Oh well, there's Dana McBeard.
Dana McBeard. Oh, another Mara match. This is it's just Mara Day. here.
It is Mirror Day here at Crimson Clash. Once again, welcome to Crimson Clash. This is the semifinals, the second semifinals between King Ches and Ninguno Survey. This is the third and deciding match.
A quick shout out to both Lord Bushwook and to Baby Hoses for the hosts and / raids earlier.
Yes, thank you very much for supporting the tournament, my friend.
Right. We are live. Flake and I are live. These games were played over the weekend, but Flake and I are live, if you were wondering.
We have no idea who won.
We have no idea.
No clue.
No clue who won while we were adminning the tournament.
And William Mvatra comes out and says, you know what? How about we just start this on the engine route? And, I don't know why you would boost a non premium Roach, because that's almost embarrassing to even have a non-premium Roach.
Look at that non-premium Roach just glaring us in the face, taunting us.
This is an interesting move to put the Atra on the back row. Now the Roach comes out and protects it potentially from that Trebuchet. We're going to see what the luck happens over here because the Treb is
hits the non-premium Roach.
Delicious. Now the Atra is going to go ahead and get another boosty boost over here, but at this case now, the more turns that Trebuchet does not hit Atra, the more units you can place on the back row, which means that
we got a tribute war here.
This is going to be. This is not the greatest song in the world. This is just a trebuchet.
I call it a trebuchet when I get mad at it.
Well, now we're gonna have to bleep that out, aren't we?
Yeah, probably. Who said this was a family stream?
Not I. It's the Crimson. It's the Crimson Clash.
It's the Crimson Clash. This is all adult.
Totally adult card games. Look at that card mark in Chezzy's hand, all the way at the left. That is Corvo once again writing on the chalkboard. He is writing his resignation to the to the Empire to the Kingdom rather, for not being able to ever show up on the game because he has been in hand all the time and not getting much value. But over here, we now have a Treb War, and like I said, the more turns that pass, the more units can be put on the back row, which makes it less and less likely for that Trebuchet to hit the William Mvatra.
Right now. Which is interesting because most people's reaction would be, okay, that's back there, I'm going to play everything in the front, but then you give value to what you just said, like you give more value to things that will damage you in the front. So actually, Ches playing smart by just throwing stuff in the back and denying that tribute from getting a lot of value or anything else. Hey, there's a premium Roach. Now how come Servo can whip out a premium Roach?
Because the difference here is that Servo is a man of class and culture, and Chezzy is clearly was pulled out of the sewers somewhere and given an internet connection. Because if you do not play a premium Roach, you are likely some type of mutant scumbag. How dare you?
As the chat just said, we're going to call it the Trebuchet.
We can definitely call it a Trebuchet. And we're going to go ahead and give a little bit of a, what was it, vitalization?
Vitalization.
Some vitalization. And look at the snipe show.
He gave a Red Bull. Gave him a Red Bull to Roach. They're giving him wings.
Yeah, there's so much sadness going on to that Roach that for it not being premium that they're actually giving it like charity right now of extra boosts and stuff. The fun part about this, my friends, is that Trebuchet is just sniping the crap out of its counterpart on the other side, and every single fling of a rock has just landed squarely on its opposition on the other side. So
you know what else is losing value on Servo's side? That Summoning Circle might be losing some value here as we go deeper.
I mean, this is a Hubert deck, so there's a good chance that he might be looking for a long round. We're going to see how this goes. If it's a Hubert round, I would probably suspect that, Ninguno is probably going to bounce out of this round. That Markthius is not exactly a huge piece to the puzzle here, but there he goes. Chezzy's walking away with a pretty significant, and once again, snipe show, by the way. Trebuchet on Trebuchet action is just out of control.
Out of control. We say everything with love, by the way. We love Chezzy. Don't get us wrong.
Mark represents himself and himself only.
How dare you, sir?
How dare you? All right, so the round one goes to our lovely Queen Maeve. To the Ada, and now both players, we're going to see a long round 3 is what I suspect, Mark, here. Both of them are going to bank on the fact that they can go deep into a round and really maximize the points. One of them just
new card in hand for Chezzy.
Oh my god.
He's just peacocking.
That is definitely in there purely to get aroused. Wow. And not even a premium again. Out of all the cards we'd want to see.
Well, that one's acceptable. That's a new card, so we can let that one slide.
Can someone donate some gosh darn powder to this?
If anyone needed to, if anyone needs to win powder out of this tournament, it's Ches. So I hope that he uses whatever he wins with on Roach, so we can finally get that premium.
All right, so we're gonna see how this one goes. There are some cards that can actually just be, bled out over here. I would suspect that maybe Ninguno is probably gonna he could dip out maybe the Arbalest, maybe the Trebuchet. Like these are cards that he could get rid of to maybe get 3 card draws later on. But both hands are looking mighty fine for the long round. And again, Ninguno has the Hubert, has the Vincent, has the Ale, has the Selkirk and the Leader Charge. There's a lot that he can do in one turn to do a crap ton of damage to really maximize that Hubert. But what he's desperate for is last say.
Yes, he who has the last say is so important in Gwent.
Oh, it is a masterful thing.
Probably now more than ever. I mean, it's always been kind of a thing, but I think in the way the game has gone, if you get last say, you're in a good spot to win.
Especially in a deck like Hubert, decks that have giant point slam towards the end where you're putting all your eggs in one basket, you want to make sure that your opponent has no opportunity to answer it. Something like, especially with Geralt being very popular in the meta right now, those are definitely things to consider, especially against something like a Hubert, a huge Bert, big drop towards the end.
Huge Bert, yeah. Huge Bert. I can't wait for them to make an Ernie card.
Oh my lord.
So we can have Huge Bert and Ernie.
Then what happens to Big Bird? There's Big Bird, Huge Bert.
Huge Bert.
Oh,
That's what we need. We need an Ernie.
Now these are immense cards coming towards Chezzy's hand. He really has one ugly card in there, and that's gone. And that bronze over there offering a shield with the Selkirk on board. These are definitely cards that you want to hang on to. Look at what else he has. His whole graveyard, the rest of his deck is pretty much insignificant. So
yeah, you don't want that rune word. You don't want rune word in there.
You don't want any of this garbage, frankly. I mean, really, what can you take that's really going to help you out over here? You might play something like, you might cross your fingers, roll the dice, and hopefully get King of Beggars. But that's probably going to be answered immediately by something your opponent has. Like, has Survey played his Vess? I don't think so. So. King of Beggars would be an immediate answer, or would be immediately answered by Vess.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna see how this goes. Chezzy has the play over here, and he's gonna establish it right away with a Selkirk, putting it out of range of a lot of the cards that could potentially harm it. Things like Vess. I don't think that Chezzy is worried about a one card kill, so Ale is going to come out and probably bolster that card as well.
Yeah, he's going to get some good value on Stealthy here, unless you can always worry about it getting locked, but I don't think with Northern Realms you really have to worry about that too much.
No, there's not many cards in Northern Realms that can offer the lock, but it just looks to me like Corvo is once again just going to sit there and be ugly. But if you want to protect the Corvo, you can go with Ale and put the charge on your Selkirk.
Well, I think you want to play that other one he was just highlighting to give it shield, because this way it gives Corvo shield, right?
You could. In my opinion, I think that the shield is actually going to be on Selkirk, so that you can get the free swing with Selkirk to do the damage, and then once again get another swift shot in. Corvo, I don't think is the biggest problem, to be honest, or the biggest engine piece over here, but once again, we don't know that. I mean, there's definitely some. I mean, you're gonna tell me. You're probably gonna tell me I'm wrong on this, because we'll see how this works out. But
in my opinion, I just find that making sure you get as much Corvo value as possible, no matter what, is probably always a good idea. But you do have to look out for early removal. He got rid of the tribute back there, so he now can feel a little bit safer about putting Corvo down. I just feel the more you let Corvo sit, the less value you get on it, and sometimes you could simply win a game just by the sheer amount of value Corvo's getting.
And it looks to me like Chezzy's kind of respecting the Vess a bit over here, saving the Meave charge. Or did he play Vess already?
He just played Vess.
No, but I mean, did Survey play Vess?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Because
I believe he did. I believe he did.
Okay, so then in which case it doesn't really. I was thinking
he doesn't have it in hand anyway, so
yeah.
But yeah, he's got the summoning circle there. I don't think that's what he's looking for with summoning circle, however. But we might get proven wrong here, so let's find out.
All right, this is a card over here. The Commando's coming down. Again, thinning play. It's just 8 points. It doesn't necessarily need an answer. Those 4 points that they're going to produce don't really scare you that much, so you don't really want to answer it. Not that you even could. There's better cards that you want to do. You're not going to waste a Selkirk duel with it. I don't think that's important. I think now's the time you're probably going to go ahead and beef up some of the cards you have and having some difficulty deciding what he wants to do over here. Premium Vess or non-premium Artificer?
Yeah, well, who gets the better value, right? That's what he's trying to decide. Who does he want to keep alive for later?
You'd think that with the amount of units that have orders, like the Ockfist, like the what am I saying? The Botchling.
Yeah.
It looks to me like you probably want to protect the Vess here, and given the fact that he did play the Artificer and it didn't really eat any damage, it's probably safe to play. At the same time now, Ninguno is also establishing his board, doing what he's got to do, and it's coming clearer and clearer what the strategy is here. When you're throwing down the ale and you've got a bunch of cards that are going to do a lot of damage all at once, it seems to me like there's only one option down the road, which is, it's a huge bird deck.
Yeah,
finally.
Here comes Corvo. Finally.
Finally, Corvo is done. He's done doing his astrophysics on his chalkboard. He's decided he'd like to play the game, and Meeve's going to give him a little extra dap a little tap on the shoulder.
I see.
Shield.
I would have actually waited one more turn because then you could boost Corvo with the ale as well. So, but not a bad idea. I mean, he boosted. Well, he didn't actually. Yeah, he's not going to use Meeve on it. I'm surprised actually. He's not going to use Meeve on Corvo.
Corvo's got the shield now, so any damage is going to be negligible anyways. I think maybe at the point where that shield is gone, he might back it up with the charge from the ale. But that shield is pretty much going to save the day as it goes. But looking at Survey's hand with the Sabrina there, the Kidwadi Revenant, the Vincent, the Selkirk, there's so much in that hand that can do a lot of work right now.
Yeah, for sure. Chez's hand looking really nice.
I think what he wants to do, frankly, is he wants to use that ale to boost the Anastriga.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's already going to get boosted with the Corvo anyway, but yeah, definitely makes sense. Oh, well, we're going to see it happen right now. Now, see, that's a great placement because now Corvo gets the boost. Also, oh, that's such a killer combo. When you get both Corvo and
Anastringer?
Yeah, whatever I'm trying to say, in the same hand, that's such a killer combination.
And this is perfectly fine over here. The 2 points of boost on the Ana that's just enough to put out of the range of so many different things.
Yeah, Chez is just like racking up the points here. Oh boy, Salty though taking a hit. Oh, Selkirk not getting any value now. That hurts.
Unfortunately, yeah, Selkirk kind of just stood by and waited a little bit too long, and all the boosts that went towards it and everything are kind of now long gone.
He never found the target he wanted, I think.
Great news now for the Botchling, finally gets to hit the board and do a little damage and, make a little love, get down tonight.
And then spin and get down tonight.
Now the question now is, what do you suspect is coming out of the deck with that summoning circle?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, we unfortunately can't see Servo's remaining hand, or remaining deck rather. So, I mean, it's definitely. I would assume he's playing huge bear. I mean, that's usually what you do with Ana. So I'm wondering if that is indeed what is there. I mean, he's got everything. Oh, well, we do know he has huge bear. I'm sorry. I was looking at a different card.
Yeah.
He does have
Hubert's there.
So what is he going to grab with Summer Circle? He's got up to a 7. I mean,
I think that there's. I honestly believe that he probably has everything he needs. He might just have played it because he had it, and he's going to go out and fish something nice. He could go ahead and get Synthesis Blaze if he has enough provision. I don't think he does, though. I don't think he'll ever get Synthesis Blaze.
You fish something nice and you get to play twice.
It's the best way to do it.
That's right. So he's going to drop his Salty here. So let's see if his Salt stays alive. I'm going to go ahead and say that Ches is probably going to use, or turn that, well, he's going to drop, never mind. I was going to say he's going to turn that Salt into a 1, but he's going to go ahead and drop his Corvo now, it looks like.
He's looking at the Ockfist, wondering if he wants to play it right now. He does have a dual potential with that card in hand. There are definitely some options here. Vincent is nice to play on that Selkirk. It really, even if you don't kill the Selkirk, it really makes that Selkirk completely useless in terms of what the value is. It's wasted provision at that point. It's really looking good right now. And the other thing that he's probably calculating is like, do I really need to deal with that Selkirk given the fact that my Botchling is just going to knock it down to 4? So that's always a something to think about as well. And that Corvo, once again, 2 charges on it again. There's so much work that it can put in.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. He's going to keep boosting that. Yeah, man, the Corvo value is pretty wild. He's going to get some great value with the Onkfist as well. But Hugebert, though. Hugebert's got an 8 plus the duel with Selkirk plus the Ale. We already used 1 charge on the Ale. But,
there's so much that can change, though. We've seen it before at Gwent Open 8. There was a massive Hugebert play that really turned the tide. Coming back from a 50-point deficit, 1 turn, no problem, easy peasy. This is the same kind of thing happening right now. There is a 26-point deficit on the side of Ninguno Survey, but his big guns have yet to show up, and his his Ada is still on the table. There's so much that can happen. And
he gets last say, doesn't he? I believe he gets last play here.
He absolutely does get last play.
So that's actually pretty detrimental.
There's so much that can happen. I mean, the last play, we know how this is all going to wrap up, right? It's going to be, he's going to play the Sabrina, but the problem with playing the Sabrina...
Well, Ches better be careful with that Sabrina. He's got so many room for activities in the front row, he should probably start racking some of them.
That's a very interesting place for... Oh, he's doing it right off the bat, knowing that...
Oh, early. Why did he do it so early?
So I think the reason he did it early here is the fact that no matter where he plays that Sabrina, he's going to get boosted by Corvo a million times, and he might never get a real opportunity for it. So he's taking the points while he can, but at the same time, you can always use your... Why not use your Ada on it?
Yeah, I would have waited another turn on that.
He had ways to kill the Sabrina. He could have used his Ada, his Selkirk, he had his pings, he had his Ales. This is really confusing as to why he would make that play.
I don't know. Maybe he thought the value, I don't know, maybe he thought it didn't matter which one he used for it. I'm not sure.
I really think that right now what King Ches is thinking is that he probably just got not lucky, but he's capitalizing on a little bit of a mispay perhaps. And the fact that he can no longer worry about stacking the back row, all that added damage from the Sabrina is no longer factored into the Hubert. That is a really, really interesting play.
Yeah, I think that was I think it was definitely a misplay.
That might have been a panic play. I could be wrong there. I mean, he made it this far with this deck. You know, he's in the semifinals of Crimson Clash.
You're right. But he made. No, you're right.
But that's very interesting to like. I mean, there's so much that could have happened here that just took away so much. Oh, there we go.
Damage. So he gets an Ockfist. He's still gonna get a lot of damage here for Bert, but will it be enough? Is the question.
The question is also, I mean, despite the fact that he got all that damage out of it, Mark, look at what he left on the board. He left so much damage on the board. Yeah. And now he's going to put that in the back row, boost the hell out of it with...
Give it Zeal.
Give it Zeal. Boost it about 4
He's going to get rid of Ockfist, so there goes the value in Ockfist. Oh, yeah, he's not going to be able to catch up now. It's too many points. Huge work is not going to get large enough.
Yeah, and King Ches has just played this masterfully.
I think the Sabrina play was the loss. I think he could have come closer had he not done that with Sabrina.
Yeah, once you put that Sabrina on the board and you can't match it early. If that was his second to last card that he played, Mark, and then he added it and foul ailed it, these are still damage points that you can still keep on the board and make happen. I mean, I don't see why he panicked and had to play it so early, but c'est la vie, my friend, and that's how she goes.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe he saw something we didn't. You never know. You know, maybe he had a line of play in mind that got ruined. I'm not sure, but yeah, Huge Birch is not going to be large enough. And there we go.
He is just adequate. He is adequate Bert at this point.
Adequate Bert. Sad Bert.
He is average Bert. Unfortunately,
Average Bert.
not huge Bert this time. And
Yeah.
again, we could probably go ahead and check the tapes again on that one and wonder what the hell happened, Mark. But at the end of the day, the points added up the way they did. The decisions were made, and here we are with the 2 semifinalists moving on to the finals. And let's take a look at that board there, Mark.
Let's take a look at the new bracket here. Lord Bushwick and King Ches moving into the finals. So that means we're going to go ahead and see Ryan and Servo in the third place matchup to see who will come out on top there, because there is a third place prize.
Oh, yes, there is definitely.
Oh,
so
yes.
the top 3 get paid out with cash, meteorite powder, and some premium kegs. So hopefully maybe King Ches can convert that to a premium roach so we can start pounding on him. Nonetheless, this is where we're at with this entire thing.
Ches locking in at least second place now, so we know that he can afford to premium that roach. So
yeah, so now's the time, ladies and gentlemen. If you want us to go ahead and tweet at King Ches, Chesy, or whatever the hell he wants to go by, and ask him why the hell his roach is not premium, because it's an embarrassment.
What's
frankly.
the deal with that?
Yes, he embarrasses his game, his country, his brand, everything. The crown is now sullied. The roach is not premium.
The queen called. She wants you to premium that roach.
It's just disgusting. It's actually disgusting. What's more disappointing, Mark? Was it that Hubert, or was it the premium roach, or the non-premium roach?
I'm gonna go ahead and say the non-premium roach.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on that one, my friends. And we were going to be taking a short break, if I'm not mistaken, because we do have, or no, we're not actually. Mark is
not yet. Actually, we're gonna talk about Inked one more time here.
Oh, damn right we are.
Inked one more time.
Because we got to give some love to one of our sponsors in chief, Inked Gaming. Go check them out at inkedgaming.com. Get all your cool tabletop and computer-related peripherals. Get them branded with all the cool stuff. As you can see right there, that is my Magic binder, and my playmat here is my Team Rankstar mouse pad. Really damn cool. Check them out at inkedgaming.com. You can get all your stuff branded to your liking and customized. There's my playmat bag, and my binder that I impress all the 12-year-olds at the game store, who then proceed to kick the crap out of me at Magic the Gathering. But that's not what we're playing today. We are playing Gwent. It is Crimson Clash presented by Team Rankstar. Yep. Wonderful, wonderful thing.
Gwent the Gathering.
Gwent, we are gathered here for Gwent.
We are gathered, so we are technically gathering for Gwent. Now, you did mention that we are going to take a break. After this next match, we're just going to take a look at the third place final game between Ryan and Servo. So they tied in their first. I'm sorry. They won the other. So we're tied and going into the third game. So this is going to be the I said that so backwards, but we're going to go to the third game with Ryan and Servo and check out who is going to claim that third place crown.
That is correct. So we do want to show you at least how this one wrapped up. We want to show you the third place game before we give into the absolute finals. It's Ninguno Survey versus Ryan Godric. This is for third place. There is some actual coin and prizes on the line here, so we want to give them their due. They did fight hard to get here. So we're going to show you the third and final deciding game between the two players, and we're going to go get that going.
Let's rock and roll.
And finally, a non-mirror action, which is really lovely.
But we get to see Anna again, and a first appearance of Woody.
Yes, Woody's finally making it there as the premium roach, as does a classy and normal human being. They play the premium roach, and he's tossing that away, easy peasy to find the Hubert. And there's the Say Synthesis Blaze in hand, 2 trebuchets. There's a lot of cards that can actually go ahead and do some damage in round 1, or actually just sort of keep you in the game. And on the side of Ryan Godric, that is a beefy hand, my friends.
Beefy. The chat commenting on Ryan's smile in his photo there for them. he's got a beefy smile.
He's got a beefy smile. He's got a beefy hand and a foglet coming down to represent an opening play.
Now we get to see Servo's side or Survey side. I keep calling him Servo. Did I do that earlier? We're getting to see Survey's side of the board here. You know, I was thinking of Corvo. That's what it was.
Well, you know what? We can just ask him and see what Survey says.
Survey says it's not.
Survey says.
So we get to see actually. So I'm glad that we actually get to see his side, because now we get to kind of see those decision-making things that maybe we didn't see before, where some of the picks that he made for choosing. So always interesting to get the other perspective.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. When you're seeing it at the other side of the board, things might change your perspectives. You see things differently. And right now, just establishing a board, the other Blue Strike Commando comes out, and the original, the Blue Strike Prime, getting the Vitalization.
And getting a Red Bull, giving him wings. Feel vitalized, refreshed.
Look at him, and he's looking at his buddy. And he's like, "Look how awesome I feel." He's so revitalized. He's actually animated, not like his stagnant and static brother.
That's right. Instead of saying Red Bull, you know why he's feeling revitalized? Because he just visited inkedplaymats.com. And found himself a brand new playmat.
Absolutely. Look at him. I mean, he's just feeling amazing. And now here's a great part about that bonded ability is that those bronze cards now are getting some extra value. The vitalization is going to be taken away for 3 extra turns. That's some good value off of your bronzes. And if winning the bronze war by head and shoulders right now is a survey, but look at that. That is
hashtag not a sponsor.
Three wonderful Thrive units on the board. The only issue right now is, can you maximize? Because it looks like Ryan Godric is not backing away from this round whatsoever.
No, he's playing fast too. Like he's going in. Like he's just not taking. He's just saying, "I know what I'm playing. Here we go."
Absolutely, hot and heavy is what he's doing.
Hot and heavy.
You got to play to make sure that you're getting away from, getting the maximization from your cards. Now, those 2 trebuchets have just sniped the Wyvern, but those points that he's losing off those trebuchets, he just gets right back with Thrive, no problem.
Yeah, this match, this first round, moving pretty quick, actually.
It is indeed, but I would suspect that Nguno Survey is probably going to walk away from it. He plays round 3 pretty hot and heavy, so he's likely going to back away. The only issue now is Woodland is probably primed to go ahead and bleed his opponent. I do not see this. If you're Survey, you want to win round 1. You want a long round 3. Monsters, especially against Woodland and decks that play big creatures like that, they really, really, really want to make sure that they're bleeding win conditions and synergies out of their opponent in round 2, and so as you can see, Survey is actually committing cards that factor into that huge bird.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's got everything he's got left in his Survey has left in his hand. I would kind of want to keep for round 3, so might want to think about passing after this turn here. I mean, I guess you could lose the Akvist if you really wanted to, but risky.
Yeah, I think that what he might be able to get away with is if he sort of focuses his strategy around boosting Selkirk, keeping Selkirk nice and tall, and then getting the value off of that, knowing that Ryan Godric is going to have a bunch of tall units. That's definitely an opportunity that he can think of. Mm-hmm. Like, because cards like Akvist are not going to get too much value that you'd suspect. I could be wrong, but I don't think that there's going to be an enormous board for Akvist to really get shaking on in round 3.
Yeah, now, I just pushing Woodland is always a risky move, right? Because he's either going to beat you out on having large units, or he's just going to play his large units so he can eat them again later. So it's always a tough decision on when should I pass against Woodland, and what do we do here? Do we pass here because we need these cards for a big time play round 3, or do you push Woody more here to dominate? Because winning round 1 against Woodland is actually pretty important too. So,
very much so. Winning round 1 means that you can dry pass round 2 and elongate that round 3 to maximize your synergies to get Hubert to really be just gigantic. But at the same time, winning round 1 means going deep into it. Woodland is not afraid to really push the envelope in round 1, knowing that he has that 8-point burst coming out of his leader ability to really steal a round late. Keep in mind, Ryan still has the tactical advantage. He hasn't used it yet, which is just telling Surveys, like, I'm not leaving this round. I have the tactical advantage. I haven't used it. I'm not going anywhere.
He has the high ground, Anakin.
Absolutely, and he's got a higher ground now. That is a 13-point lead that he's holding in his hand, and that means that there's going to be some, there's a lot to do here, and all those cards that he is holding on to right now are really, really big. Selkirk, Hubert, and Akvist right now. He has to play the Akvist, I think, but this is just getting ugly.
Yeah, this is now we're cutting into our huge bird. Now we're cutting into our huge bird value. So this is a little dangerous.
Yeah, the strategy of what you had before, which was, hey, Selkirk, we can build him up, get a lot of damage that way. That might have to be sacrificed. I do not see.
Well, I think the Survey is under what I had said, where it was you got to win round 1 at all costs against Woodland, and I'm not going to say that he's wrong in thinking that, but I just with what's in hand, I would be really wary. But he's going for it here. He's looking. See, he's looking like, okay, what do I got here? What do I got left?
He's calculating what he can do to actually match up with that
Yeah, he's still got ale, right? He's still got expired ale, which is good. So that's a little bit of help.
Expired ale is okay.
He's showing us. See, he's got the Ada.
He's got the Sabrina in hand. Sabrina in deck as well that he could pick up. Vess, other cards that are gonna give him a little bit of extra, juice on that Hubert later. But this is just looking really almost insurmountable by Ninguno because of the fact that he's really committed a lot of pieces.
Yeah, if only he played Igni or Scorch here. Oh my goodness, those 2/10s would have just been toast. That would have been so disgusting.
Nobody plays Scorch.
No, I haven't seen Igni in 10 years.
I got scorched in rank 1. I got scorched by a Brewer player.
I haven't been scorched since 3rd grade.
I swear. I tell you, man, every time I get scorched, I know that I have to go renew my license or something because it's been that long. I'm it's been 2 years. I gotta go renew my license.
2 years already? Yeah, I need a new picture and everything.
It's crazy. I know. It's insane. So here comes the bleed, and
Guess not. not quite.
No. That was my bad.
Dry pass.
All right, so here's the problem.
By the way, we established one time what a wet pass was. If a dry pass is playing no cards, a wet pass is playing your entire hand and then pass. It's the opposite, right? You have to have the opposite.
Well, no one's wetter than Gurnikora.
This is getting out of hand.
This is absolutely falling. You can tell that after this we're going to be taking a 5-minute break, but at the same time, my friends, I don't see the tools in Survey's hand to really maximize. What he'll have to do here is he's going to have to play those Arbalests and really stack the damage on them, stack the charges. He's going to make sure that those DJs keep growing and growing and growing and unload all in one crazy foul swoop. That is the only way this is going to work out.
The only way. It's the only way. But he's got... Okay, well, we're row stacking, so that's a good Sabrina value.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what you're talking about over there is the fact that he's kind of helping out over here.
I mean, he doesn't have... He has good cards in hand for the Hubert play. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's also not terrible. So...
I think that Ryan knows that this is Hubert. When you see Ada, you can usually suspect Hubert.
Of course.
So I think that he knows that those Arbalests are not going to fire until the last round. So cards like the Caranthir damage card and the Cyclops, those are not going to come out till they're necessary. Until there's maybe 2 or 3 cards left to go. He's going to let those Arbalests collect some charges, and then he's going to sort of ruin his day and rain on his parade and just kind of toss the Cyclops into them and just kill them straight away.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, who has last say here? Ryan does not have last say, right? So
no, Survey has last
say, so that's very good. See, now this is risky. I was about to say, in my experience, you would have woodied Caldwell there, so that Caldwell is a nice juicy card that you don't have to worry about ever moving. But Ryan taking the risk and just playing as is.
This could come down to a steal of the Caldwell, but we'll see how this one shapes out. But I suspect it's going to be a tricky situation here.
Yeah.
But, deal 6 damage. Look
it's
at that.
Trick to play around. It's trick to play around.
Okay, so now this is where the hopes and dreams of our poor friend Survey becomes just completely dashed, because all his engine pieces are now going to be biting the dust. The Cyclops is going to come down and chuck a horse at a man with a crossbow, and that's not a fair fight. And finally, all those stacked damages are just...
Excuse me, I gotta go see a Cyclops about a horse.
Oh, man.
Well, he's going to drop the Sabrina here. I guess he doesn't have to worry about it getting hit, or boosted, rather. Look at this disgusting 20 spear tip that's about to get played here.
Yeah, what's funny is...
That secures Corvo.
There was times in Gwent where getting 20 points of value out of a gold was probably the standard. You're like, oh, you only got that gold's only worth 13
Yeah,
points.
that was
That's
yeah,
garbage.
that was during the inflation rate.
Yeah, the inflation era of Gwent.
And then there was the crash of before Homecoming where the inflation went down.
Nowadays, a 5-point bronze is a big deal.
That's a big deal.
Like a 5 or 6 point bronze card for like 4 or 5 provisions, it's just a whole different story.
He's going for the hugie now.
He knows the story, and the reason why he's doing this now is because he wants a turn to come around where he can go ahead and Hubert out and steal the Caldwell.
Ooh, that's actually not a bad. I mean, he it's not gonna be enough though. I don't know, but
it very well might be actually because that Caldwell.
Wait a minute, he's got that 3 there. Let's do some quick math. The Caldwell comes over to. Oh my goodness gracious! The Caldwell comes back over to the other side, and there it is. Oh my goodness! Wow, and there the whole time I thought that was gonna be a bad day for.
Oh my gosh!
What happened here? I lost us, Flake.
Yeah, we're not a thing. Right, there we go. Well, paint me brown and call me Rusty, because that is just a very, very last minute play. That was quite significant.
Oh, paint you brown, call you Rusty. Maybe you should have played with Glusty. No, never mind. I'm sorry. Hey, that was actually, I didn't think it was too bad. All right, anyway.
That said, that was a very nice steal of the Caldwell once again. Once your initial strategy of getting out a big Hubert, once your pieces are long gone, the Caldwell came out and much to the disgust of our good friend Ryan Godric.
Ryan falling, unfortunately, to the Hubert.
To fourth place.
To fourth place, but still, we had 30 participants in the Crimson Clash. Ryan coming out in fourth place. Well played, sir. Thank you for participating. And Survey, I think I'm a Corvo, I'm so sorry. Survey, well played, getting that third place and getting a little piece of the pie action, if you will.
Yeah, no, that was definitely a great matchup, though, Mark, especially when, getting the Hubert off and stealing the Caldwell really becoming your best friend or your worst nightmare in that case. Yep. It was Ryan Godric's worst nightmare. Corvo, now you got me saying it too. Survey identifying that one avenue of play that can potentially steal him the game, and it worked out really, really well. So I'm glad that shaped up and was an exciting match. Mark, we do have the finals coming up around the corner. So I believe that it is going to be a wonderful matchup.
Matchup.
King Ches and Lord Bushwook, a great matchup over there.
The Lord versus the King. What is a king to a lord, right? Or what is a lord to a king, rather, I guess.
I don't know where they are in the hierarchy of ridiculousness.
Yeah. What kind of lord? Are we talking about divine lord or like a medieval lord?
Good lord.
Edge lord? Like what kind of lord?
Yeah, there's other lords that we're not going to talk about. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to be taking a short break before we dive into the finals. Mark and I are going to go ahead and make sure that we dig deep into the book of puns, and Mark's going to make sure that he says none, and I will make sure that I only pick the best.
I'm getting them all out now. I said a really bad one earlier, so now I'm going to get them all out now. We're going to grab some coffee. Be back in 5 for the finals again with Lord Bushwook versus King Ches. See you guys in a few minutes. We're back.
We are definitely back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for sticking with us. We're about to present you the finals of Crimson Clash presented by Team Rankstar in association with our chief sponsor, Inked Gaming. I am here with Markthius. Markthius, how have you liked the action up to date?
So far, so good. We got to see some really great matches, and I want to give another shout out to Ryan and to Survey for games well played. And thank you so much for participating, but we're going to get to the Bushwook and Ches finale to find out who will be crowned the first Crimson Clash champion with Team Rankstar, so it should be pretty cool. And we have a actually Rankstar player up against a Leviathan player, so this will be really interesting as well.
Yeah, this is great. Everybody knows Lord Bushwook from Team Rankstar as also being a top-level player because this is someone who's won tournaments before. You know, there's no slouch on his side over there because he has both a following from an entertainment value, but he backs it up with high-level plays. He was streaming his matches the other day and, you know, just hanging out in that chat over there, seeing some of the fact that, you know, a lot of the following knows that he's both entertaining and good. And on the side of our good friend King Ches representing Team Leviathan Gaming, this is someone who, again, has a great Gwent acumen. You see him all the time at the top of the ladder, and this time, my friends, he is going to a Gwent challenger. He has done so through the qualifier. So two high-level players who are going to be, you know, bumping horns and seeing how this goes.
Yep. Let's just show off our mugs real quick. Not only our faces, but here we go.
Yes.
Clink.
I have my Larry mug,
and I got my 98.3. Only my own people know what that is.
Cheers.
Clink. There we go.
Perfect.
We'll try to pass it next time. But
yeah, we practiced that for 16 hours. That's why the stream was delayed yesterday. We couldn't get it.
That's it. We had to take the entire day to practice that clink. All right. Yeah. So without further ado, shall we get to the finals, Flake? I know everyone's itching for it. We've been teasing them enough. I think it's time that we bring them the finals.
Absolutely.
Lord Bushwook versus the King Ches.
Yes, and if you notice real quickly over there, you actually can see Bushwook's hand reflected in his glasses in that picture. You can see right there. If you have a high definition enough screen, you could probably see the tabs on his Chrome and figure out.
Oh, let's see let's see what he was browsing there.
Yeah, let's see what porn he's into. Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Here we go.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a Bushwook's Henselt versus Skellige, represented by our good friend King Ches. And the hand right now looks a little bit weak. There's some easy toss-aways over there. The Kedwani Knight is probably going to go. That only comes out, that's always best when pulled out of the deck straight away. But he's going to toss that out real fine. Henselt, again, looking mighty massive with that beautiful mushroom hat he's wearing.
Yes, Henselt, it's interesting to see him kind of back, because I think when people talk about Northern Realms, they always say, Henselt's so weak, and but, you know, he's like this secret god in Northern Realms right now. That's just, I think the sheer shock when you see him is what gets people to win sometimes, because you don't expect it.
Definitely. He's probably one of the least picked leaders, but at the same time, doesn't mean he's that weak. And a lot of that surprise factor, it can usually come into play when you're playing against someone because you don't necessarily know what their strategy is going to be. He's kind of a sleeper pick in a lot of tournaments, and as you can see right now, Lord Bushwook has full confidence that this is someone that he wants to lead off with. And again, the format of this tournament, Mark, is everybody comes in with 3 decks, and you cannot play the same deck twice. So typically, you want to lead off one of your first 2 games is usually going to be with your stronger deck.
Absolutely. And Ches starting off with the Caldwell there, just throwing out his big boys early, and with the pure intimidation.
That is a power move in itself. Just Caldwell coming in with that that big gut coming out, holding that dog nice and tight, saying, "What you got, friend?" Now,
that vicious hellhound in his arms.
For sure. Part of playing Caldwell early and in a proactive way is that you have an extra turn in order to protect it. So it could just die, and that's not going to hurt you terribly. It's not going to, be negative points. But at the same time, no matter what happens right now, he does have the tactical advantage to sort of keep Caldwell on his side of the board. So that's always a fun play when you see Caldwell come out early, and it's a play we're seeing a lot more often.
Now, here's a good question for you, Flake, because I see people do this a lot, and I always wonder, is it a good idea? We saw Bushwook just drop that tribute early, but it doesn't get a point value with the hit. Is that a good idea in your opinion, or do you think you should wait to see something in the siege row before you drop that?
I think
range row, rather. Siege row doesn't exist. I'm sorry.
Yes. the siege row is now, if you drop it into the siege row, that's probably what we call the discard pile now,
Yeah.
Mark, and I think that's a fair play.
I'm sorry, my brain was an old Gwent there for a second.
Nonetheless, playing it right away, I think that in every deck, Mark, you're not always going to get the best amount of value from all the cards you're going to play. So the siege, the trebuchet is one of those low provision cards that can really have a high ceiling of points, but it's also a card that you're comfortable with tossing away in a round that you're probably not going to win. Now, for Bushwook, being on the draw there with the red coin, that just means for him that he can play cards and probably pass fairly comfortably at some point, because he's seeing Chezzy really devote a lot of big cards with the Caldwell, with the Burnabrand, and the double skirmisher spike there. That just means that he's really looking to get as far ahead as possible so that he can just comfortably pass away from Bushwook. Bushwook, like you said right now, he's not necessarily looking to play a bunch of cards. He's likely just going to hang on to the cards he wants for that big late game play.
Absolutely, and we got some row stacking going on Chez's side, so we're giving some Sabrina value if Bushwook decided to make that happen.
That's true.
That's always the good thing about the Tribute, is that it does force row stacking. Oh, but he did give some Gorgonzola value there to Chez, so...
That's correct. Gregoire de Gorgonzola comes out and establishes even more dominance, and that's just extra protection for the Caldwell. And again, tack advantage is still there, staring him in the face to protect Caldwell even more.
Pretty appropriate that Chez played Gorgonzola, if you think about it.
Yes, that is... There's definitely some value there.
It's lore friendly.
It's lore friendly. The continuity is just intact, my friends.
Amazing.
Protected. Now, interesting enough over here is that as strong as this start looks for Chezzy, if you look in his hand, it gets a little bit weaker and weaker as it goes. Now, obviously, Coral with all those special cards in hand can really be pretty disgusting to face. But this, to me, looks like probably a pass from Bushwook. He's gotten to that magic number of 7, so he's not going to be, leaving any cards in the deck that he shouldn't. He's going to have an option to actually look for some stuff over here if he needs to in the next round. But he hasn't committed anything that really is going to factor into a round 3 win condition right now. And everything else he has looks like it's something that he probably wants to hang on to, knowing that his opponent Chez has committed a Caldwell, he's committed a Gorgon, he's committed Burnabrand. There's all kinds of crazy amounts of tempo on that side, but opting rather to play. He wants to keep going into this round. He might be able to steal. I'm not sure. I think he might actually be looking that with Vincent, with all these other moves, he could maybe potentially steal this in an extra card.
That new card there that Bushwook just dropped, that is... You think it would be another one that's, well, it only damages 1, right? So it's weak, but it actually can ramp up pretty nicely, especially if you can get more than 1 on the board. If you could ever make a copy of it, you can actually make those pretty detrimental. The more they get on there.
They do. Now Chezzy takes the pass over here with a 23-point lead, rather, putting the pressure on Bushwook. Now Bushwook has the opportunity to go ahead, go down a card, or 2 rather.
You can go 2, yeah, 2 cards.
And really not suffer in the long run in round 3. And he's looking at his cards, looking at his options. He can go ahead and Vincent down the Caldwell, and that would be a solid 11-point play, plus the extra charges on everything else going off. He's doing the math right now. Can he get 23 in one swoop? I do not think so. He's probably going to have to drop something else, but we're going to see.
Oh, all right, he does the Sabrina value. That's a good idea, though, because that's... Well, is he going to be able to get that Caldwell over? I wonder. He hits it a couple times here. I think he's actually going to be able to... Well, he's got to get rid of that 5, though, so maybe not.
Yeah, he needs to get rid of the 5 just to have a 50-50 at it. I don't think that was ever going to factor in.
Gorgonzola keeps it on his side.
Again, that goddamn cheese man.
The cheese man.
Cheese man comes in, and Botchling will steal the Caldwell here. So that's a guarantee right there.
Actually, I don't believe it does. I think if it's tied, is it tied? Does Caldwell still come to your side? I don't recall the rule there.
No, but the Botchling is going to shave down the Gorgon to 4, meaning that Botchling is going to be top dog in the yard, and it's going to pull over the Caldwell.
Oh, okay, yes, yeah, you're right. Yep, that's right, because he has he has an order, so it actually, yeah, he doesn't do it though. Why doesn't he? No. Oh.
No, that's fine, because...
Oh, he got lucky though. He should have hit the 5.
No, because if he hits the 5, that means that If he hits the 5, it means that the botchling might hit the Caldwell down to 3, meaning it's less points that he can steal. So I think he did it the right way there.
Okay, all right. I thought that was a little risky there because the botchling could have not hit the. Well, but you're right.
No,
the tie rule was fine. So
yeah, the botchling was always going to hit the Gorgon, and then the Caldwell happens at the end. Like the last calculation is usually the Caldwell there. Hey, long story
mechanics,
short,
man.
yeah, long story short, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We're done. We're done with that. We're done with that round.
Exactly. Doesn't matter how it sex. Let's go.
Yeah. And Bushwood coming in with the dry pass.
As was, as is expected over there, going down the extra cards, and that dry pass now with the 3-card draw and the 10-card max hand in New Gwent means that there's really no suffering happening from Bushwick's side over here because he's not really taking a penalty by going down those 2 cards early. Play your cards, friends. There's nothing wrong with it.
Play your cards.
Play your goddamn cards.
I think Ches is probably going to go 2 down here again just because he likes to. We saw him do this before with his brand deck. He wants to get that full value 3-card draw rather than having the extra mulligan.
Definitely.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
this gives, in the same vein that, Bushwick now went down 2 cards to win the round, it gives Ches the opportunity to spend a couple turns to actually fix his hand as he wants. Look, he just went in there and tossed out 2 crap cards out of his hand, discarded more garbage, and drew into better things. So it's really, it really stacks. It's exponentially good when you have some time to just toss away cards like Skellige can.
Skellige can like nobody can. A Skellige hand like nobody can. No, you know what? That one's not coming together. Let's just scrap that whole one.
Back to the drawing board.
That one wasn't coming together.
That was not working out, my friend. All right, so that's a pretty good hand on the side of Bushwick over there. He's got the Sorceress. The Damned Sorceress is still in hand, which can actually connect with the Kinwani Revenant if necessary, if he wants to find a target. But, it's still risky. Now, Henselt is going to have to find some value.
Yeah, who's he? Well, I guess you have the Revenant, right? That's probably a good pull there. Did he use a... No, he already used a Tribute, so he can't use it there. I'm guessing he's going to go for the Cadwin.
Yeah, the Cadweni Revenant is likely going to be what comes out. It's going to come out as an 8 with Zeal, and that's pretty significant because you're just going to be stacking and stacking those dudes like crazy. But we're going to see how this actually works out because he already uses Sabrina, so row stacking is not exactly in his best interest or really all that fantastic. But we'll see how this goes.
Yeah. We see it, we shall. Now, there's an argument here to you. He already uses, unless I'm remembering this wrong, didn't he? He already uses Gorgonzola, right? So, I was going to say, that was the play that should be happening. So, never mind. It was either that or, no, that was the play. That was right, so.
Yeah, so Gorgon has already been used on the side of Chesy, and it's looking mighty fine in the hand of Lord Bushwick right now, given the fact that there's 3 fat targets in the back row for Gorgon to connect with. Just easy peasy. Now, there is a Death Wish of 2 damage, but you never know. They might actually just connect with the shield.
That back row, though, because those skulls will deal 2 damage on the other side of the board, it almost you can argue blocks Bushwick's Tribute, because you don't necessarily want to kill those.
Yeah.
But, so it's an interesting... That's a good placement, actually.
Are really ugly, especially, the best place to put those skulls against Northern Realms is always in the back row.
Yep.
It really locks up the trebuchet value, because those every single trebuchet ping is going to be negative value if it connects with a skull. So.
Right.
Now, in this case, both of the players are really evaluating the sequencing of how they want to do this. They see their win condition. They see how they want this to happen. They see how this is going to, sort of play out in their minds. But at the same time, there's always worry about opponents' removal, about opponents' disruption of your strategy. So I think early on, you really don't want to be the first person to commit an important piece to the board. So in this case, like right now, we're seeing another Kedwani Revenant coming in with a shield, with this so important.
And I think the deeper we go here, especially in the games, we're going to see more roping. I think because there's so much on the line, right? When you're in the finals, you want to just think about everything thoroughly, or as I call it, the School of Shinmiri, where you just rope until the very last second.
Yes, that is correct. But I mean, sometimes that's literally the difference between being an ace player to just an above average player, is really seeing all the lines of play, considering them. At the same time, if a play is so obvious, use that time that's allotted to you
to think about
really,
it.
to really make sure that you know what you're doing.
Right. And that's something when I said the school should marry, because that's something that he says all the time. You have the time on your turn, use it to your advantage.
That's what matters.
So here we go. We got the other tribute.
This is double. Is that double Trebs coming out of that Vernon Roche, which really looks ugly, and right now King Bushwick is kind of wondering if it's even worth his while.
Oh, what happened there? Why did he go in the...
Oh, he didn't want to...
Oh, he didn't want to hit the... Okay, yeah, he didn't want to hit the skulls, right.
Yeah, because when you're playing the Treb, like I said, playing the Treb on the back row and connecting with those skulls is negative value. You're not really seeing anything. You're really... Oh, the best you can hope for is that those two Treb shots just hit into the... right back into the trebuchet, because... Really, you're playing 4 value on the back row. That could potentially translate to 6 damage back at you. So that was kind of not really that of an optimal situation for Bushwick. So he's opting instead to just sit in the back with his big 8 and telling the trebuchet that it's in storage until more favorable conditions.
Bush is getting whooped here in this round.
Oh dear God, Bush is getting whooped.
He's getting whooped. I mean, this is a tough. I mean, look at the point difference here. Though this is a little bit tough. I mean, he uses it on. Interesting choice.
And that's fair. I mean, if you look,
fair choice.
Yeah, looking at the amount of pings that he's going to get off of that, all the cards in his hand, save 2. I mean, the Revenant, the Ocvis, the Vincent, the Vess. These are all cards that have orders, so that really adds extra value to his Arbalists. So. I think that's probably the optimal play right now, is to go pull those units out, also allowing him to tailor a good enough target for his Gorgon, for his Revenant. There are certainly some options here. Now, the other thing that it's worth noting, Mark, is Ocvist, as brilliant as it looks, dealing damage to that board, those 3 skulls on the back row are just literally laughing in the face of Bushwick right now.
I know, that's such a good placement from Chez. That's what I'm saying. Like that, even though Chez wasn't able to get rid of those skulls and do the damage, it's such a great placement because it stops so many things from happening right now. And I was going to ask you, what do you think the good value is on the sword here in Bushwick's hand? Do we use it on Willem and get some card draw, or do we use it on Roach, maybe get some card draw?
So he can pull out the name escapes me right now, but it's the 6-point bronze on the range row of Bushwick, which he's looking at right now. He's actually probably doing the same math that we are, my friend, and wondering. Willem is not the right target, mainly because of the fact that you're not getting anything from him because there's no more gold cards in the pocket there. But looking at all the other cards that you can potentially pull out of there, it's most likely going to be a Roach. Roach that's getting an extra swing at the can here, and he's going to get some really nice pieces coming out. There's the Damned Sorceress might have been a little bit of a low roll to a degree, but at the same time, that Sorceress is going to go connect in the back row, giving another opportunity for a 1-point target, and we'll see how this works out. But he's really going to be maximizing as many targets as he can.
He's getting the backups. He needs that play for Gorgonzola there, so he's getting a little backup. I probably would have even hit another one, but he's going to savor those charges.
Yeah, you want to make sure that the charges come into play, as important as possible. At the same time, what he can do is save up some of those charges and go ahead and maybe shave down that giant bear and then play Vincent on it to maximize that.
Or maybe he's going to charge up some of those saves.
There's Mark.
Sorry,
the world
I'm
is
sorry.
our oyster. Who knows, man? There's so much to do, but right now, check it out. This is where this gets a little bit crazier, because the fact that it's now onto Bushwick and he has a Revenant and he has a target, there is now going to be so many opportunities for our good friend Bushwick to start spitting out clones.
Ocvis still kind of dangerous though with the skulls, right? So Ocvis is still going to be this is going to be a doozy of a play.
Yeah, the Ocvis is going to go off and do some damage, but at the same time, if Ocvis goes off, he's killing the skulls, so that's 3 damage, but the skulls are coming back for 6 damage right back. So really, the skull value is only shaving 3 points off of the Ocvis. It's not as scary now that there's a lot of the important pieces are in play, and he doesn't have to worry about losing, a Kedwani Revenant to some questionable skull placement and everything. But there's the skulls are a lot less scary now that there's a lot more targets and a lot more safety on the board.
It's a big round here. We got getting a lot of things on the board. This is a juicy looking board right now.
Now, one thing I do want to mention is that we haven't seen the non-premium Roach from Chezzy, thank God. Clearly, that degeneracy has not shown up in this finals match. Obviously, Roach not playing a factor in Skellige, but thank the Lord that we don't have to be embarrassed by the fact that Chezzy doesn't play a premium Roach.
I don't think Roach was in this one, was it? I don't think he had Roach in this deck.
No, he did not, and that's why I'm saying it's for my own sanity. I don't have to make excuses for Chezzy's degeneracy.
I think Skellige was Chezzy's only complete premium deck in the entire tournament.
That speaks volumes to who he is as a person.
It's a personal preference.
Well, I don't know. Look at that K-Nut. That K-Nut looks pretty frozen in place.
No, that's true. Well, that's a new one. I let new cards get a pass.
Now here it goes. The double bears coming down and making short work of the Kedwani Revenant. There's a lot going on over here.
There is. There's so much happening in this.
Yep, that Ocvis is representing a crap ton of points, like a significant amount of damage. Now, at the same time, you could go ahead and Ocvis right now and use Gorgon on one of the bears that goes down to 1, and that's a fair play. No big deal, no harm, no foul. But at the same time, I don't think Vess is going to get any better.
I'll manage. Don't you fret.
So targeting K-Nut over there and then hitting Ocvis. Yep.
There we go.
This opens up a plethora of options for 1 damage targets for Gorgon to hit. There's 3 available on the board on 2 different rows. So really any healing factors, to heal a row or whatnot are not going to take the value away from our good friend Gregoire de Gorgonzola.
Gregoire? How do you really say his name? What's his actual last name? I say Gorgonzola so many times now. I don't even know his actual name.
Gregoire de Gorgon.
Gregoire de Gorgon.
There you go.
Something like that. You're the one that speaks French. You should know.
I should know.
Nilfgaardian is basically French.
Maybe I'll cast the second game of this in French, just to confuse you.
That would be great. And I'll mistranslate everything.
I'll mistranslate. Flake clearly pissed off about Premium Roach once again.
He said something angry in French.
Yes.
Something else about cheese. I don't know.
Oh, boy. Now that Sigdrifa in the hand is not looking all that great. I mean, it's a close game. It's a 1-point game. I wonder what he's going to be picking up from it. Instead, the Ulfodin is one of the options he's kind of considering, bouncing back and forth, surveying what he wants to do. But Sigdrifa's right's coming out, going to take out Yuta again, 12 points, no big deal.
Oh, what? Look at the value on Vincent here.
Yeah,
oh,
Vincent is going to town.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that was good. That was a good play.
So Vincent has come out at the exact right time, and Bushwook probably, when you're playing against Skellige and you're seeing that there's that Yuta in the graveyard, she's coming back. Sigdrifa's right to Yuta is one of those plays that just makes sense. So hanging on to the Vincent as an immediate answer to that is not a big deal at all. And once again, 3 fat targets of 1 strength units means that our good friend Gorgon.
Here comes Gorgon's going to get him the win. Gorgon's going to get Lord Bushwook the victory in game 1. Look at that.
Masterfully played by...
And Cheese gets the square, if you will.
Cheese gets the Cheese stands alone in this one,
Cheese
apparently.
Stands alone, yeah.
Yeah, so a nicely played game between our good friend Lord Bushwook versus King Ches, and unfortunately King Ches coming on the short end of the stick, short end of the cheese stick probably, who knows, but it's no big deal because there's plenty more strings to peel from this one, friends.
There's another game. Fear not, King Ches, there's another game, so let's see what happens here. So do you think we'll get a mirror? Oh gosh, I wonder if we'll get a mirror match in this whole series. We have to, right? Every game has had a mirror match so far.
It's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen.
It's bound to happen, but we're not going to see a Skellige versus Skellige. We're not going to see Northern Realms versus Northern Realms, but there's still monster versus monster, Scoia'tael versus Scoia'tael, and not one Nilfgaard deck to be
which
played.
Is surprising because that's kind of Lord Bushwook's thing, right? Nilfgaard is kind of his faction. So I'm interested to see if we see it here.
I thought his thing was just putting his face very big and blurry on his stream and confusing people.
That's true, and I know we have some of his viewers right now, so I'd love to see some close-up spam.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have
Bushwick's face.
no idea about his big brain plays or whatever whatever his brand or marketing is. Nonetheless, it is awesome to see.
His smork branding is what it is.
Whatever it is, it's working out because he's won game 1 against Challenger incumbent, Challenger 5 incumbent King Ches. Going to be going to game 2 of the Crimson Clash final here, presented by Team Rankstar.
And speak of the devil, here we go.
You called it yourself, Markthius. It is going to be a Bran on
Oh
Bran.
my goodness! Not only a faction
Two
mirror, but
scoops of raisins in this Bran.
2 scoops of raisin. We're getting the raisin Bran special here.
Oh boy, 2 scoops of raisins in these Bran
Do you think it's with the? Ooh, maybe we'll get the yogurt clusters in this.
I don't.
Who's the yogurt cluster? What card is the yogurt cluster? Gorgonzola. He's the yogurt cluster.
You are definitely the yogurt cluster. Oh God.
Oh boy.
I will say this one thing about when I go visit the States is I always have to go to a grocery store and check out the cereal aisle because it is legitimately like a giant marketing campaign for diabetes. It's insane.
It's just way different than yours. You got to go to a health food store. You see, that's the difference. If you go to like Fresh Market, they got like way better cereals.
Dude, like cookies for breakfast? What are you guys doing up there? I don't understand. All right, let's go take a look at this game over here now.
You don't like Count Chocula, Flake?
Count Chocula is a wonderful human being, and unfortunately, we have different business hours. He's up all night. I do my thing in the day. We don't make friends.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
You're more of a Frankenberry man.
Oh, Frank's berries, Frank's beans. There's so many different types.
Anyway.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right, so these are 2 decks that we've seen in action before. Lord Bushwick versus Chezzy's, both Brewer decks looking to capitalize on long rounds. And Chezzy's deck was a heavy engine piece deck with the Mahakim Defenders, with the Hawker Smugglers, the Ale of the Ancestors, and there is the non-premium Roach once again to embarrass Chezzy and perhaps look for a GoFundMe to perhaps donate some powder to that poor man's bank account.
Yep. Ches playing the Count Chocula of Roaches.
The Count Chocula of Roaches, exactly. Actually, you know what? That Roach is like that store brand version of cereal that no one buys that comes in a plastic bag.
They're just in a bag, no box.
Yeah.
The homeless cereal.
What is this? I don't have to cereal is not brand name when you need a Tupperware for it.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't count.
Once I've opened this, I need a Tupperware.
No, I don't need peripheral pieces to make this work. No, thank you. All right, so opening with the Ancestor's Ale, Roach coming out, just essentially telegraphing that I'm in this. I'm gonna win this round. I'm in this forever. That's just kind of a little bit of an engine piece. 3 points every 2 turns. Not the greatest, but it's better than a standard engine. And matching dwarf for dwarf, denying the Mahakim Volunteer if necessary. And it's back to Chezzy now, who's probably going to be looking to maybe establish another engine piece. But again, there's no answer to that skirmisher, but with another skirmisher.
The bleeding card was interesting. That's interesting card pick for the Brover deck.
Yeah, well, have we seen Bushwick's Brewery yet? I'm not sure.
I believe we saw this in the matchup with Ryan in the semis,
yes,
if I remember correctly.
But
I don't believe we saw that card. I don't believe we saw the bleeding card.
And one group of volunteers usually summons another, and here they go, and Grippy Gerwin is saying goodbye, thank you for your help, no pay for you, because you're merely volunteers. And with that, Bushwick has taken a 6-point lead. The Mahakim can make that 6-point lead nothing in just a couple of turns, but still, that is a pretty important play, especially at this crossroads in the game where you're at 6 cards and you want to go down another to possibly take the win. But Bushwick looking at the 5-card mark there. This is usually where you want to walk away if you're not committed to a round, but it is quite possible that with the cards he's holding, that these are cards that he's comfortable giving up. Things like Malayan, things like Say Synthesis, things like Karen. These are cards that he would not necessarily be all that upset about giving away. But Chezzy plopping down a Mahakim Defender, giving it a little bit of extra sauce that gives it that growth that it's gonna need for extra engine source.
Yeah, those engines, the dwarf engines are really, really great together if you're playing a full-on dwarf deck. But with the new Crimson Curse cards, I feel like it made it even better because you get so much boosting going on. You really can keep those guys alive longer than you used to before.
The boosting is great. The vitality is great as well to keep cards like the Mahakim Defender into the green. And passing on even. This is where it could get a little bit spooky, and having that blue coin and having that happen is really difficult, because not having been able to have a last say and being behind the 8 ball there, Lord Bushwick might have a little bit of some ground to cover, especially in a scenario where King Ches can really push the tempo here and not worry about going down a card.
Typically, the dwarf decks are very, or the elf decks even, are very reactive, you know, so being on blue coin is actually difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know, like, you're right, there are a lot of cards that are fairly reactive, but I mean, from a proactive standpoint, something like Hawker Smuggler, something like Dwarven Agitator, these are cards that you can put down with very little commitment necessary, or you know, regardless of what the board state is. Now we're gonna see Chezzy's probably considering right now whether he wants to commit and bleed hard into this round. And the good thing about this is that if that Hawker Smotherer,
Hawker
yes,
Smotherer,
the Hawker Smotherer, the Hawker Smuggler goes unchecked. If he plays this now, this could be a way for Chezzy to sort of test the waters. You play this in there, and if it goes unchecked, that means that you know, Chezzy can really go deep into this round. But he might be fishing for a lock over here, and looking at Bushwick's hand, that Kieran is most likely going to go ahead and match up with that boar.
Is that really, you know, do we want to, I mean, that's really your only lock. Do you savor that lock, or do you just get rid of the boar right here, you know?
Well, you could get rid of the boar right here. You're right. You can go ahead and drop a Milan and move it with the Brewer, and that sort of establishes, well, it establishes a 4-point lead, but it also burns a charge. I think what Bushwick is trying to establish or evaluate here is how deep Chezzy wants to go into this. So we're going to see what he's going to commit, and just an easy bleed over here is actually, that's a pretty significantly fair play to make, because it's going to bleed down to 4, and then you can finish it off with Milan, and you're not really using a Brewer charge.
Sure. How deep is your round, right?
How deep is your love?
How deep is your round? I would need to know.
Now, this is where it also gets curious for Chezzy. Now, without having an immediate answer to the boar, it looks like perhaps Chezzy can then go ahead and play another engine piece, because he knows that Bushwick can't answer both at the same time, so he's getting extra value out of this. Milan's going to go down, and now he has the option of what he wants to kill, opting instead for the boar. I think in that case, I mean, between the two, Mark, if you're going to kill the smuggler or the boar, I think what it is for Bushwick right now is Bushwick's probably just a little bit more afraid of getting 2-0'd than he is of, you know, round 3. I think what Bushwick is saying is, we'll worry about round 3 when it happens, but for now, you know, I'm kind of a little bit scared about getting 2-0'd in this round.
Yeah, the 2-0 threat. I'm telling you, man, pushing round 2 in the current state of Gwent, I think is very important. I think too many people got used to, oh, I'm down a card, or I'm even on round 2, I better dry pass. But I think because of that mindset, pushing round 2 is so, it can work so well right now, because you just force people to, they're holding on to their big things, they're going to drop small things early, and you just force it. You just force such good bleeding in round 2.
No, you're absolutely right. And in this case, what we're looking at is Bushwick is starting to wonder if he's ever going to get much value from those traps, playing those traps early, trying to perhaps steal a round with something like Yorvith, replaying a trap. He's sensing that this is probably going to go deep, and he wants to make sure that he's going to get value from them so he doesn't have to rely on them later. And that is an ugly card to be faced with when you are already down by a lot of points and you're just seeing extra cards tick away and tick away and tick away.
Oh, yes. Oh, goodness.
Now, at the same time over there, if we look at what Chezzy's rocking, Chezzy is not going to be...
well, he doesn't have room to push much more, right?
Well, Chezzy can go ahead and he can drop the Agitator on and make a big Skags. If he can find a target with those Broccolon Sentinels, that's a 6-point play that would be really, really good for him to make right now and thin out his deck again. Now, here's another lineup.
Lock. That's an important lock in a lineup. So
yeah,
there you go. Good play by Bush there to keep it going.
I think that is as good as you can get right there, and this is probably where you might be playing your Yorvith. He might actually... You can't play another Crushing Trap. It's either you play your Yorvith or your Ithleen. on your next play, because playing a Crushing Trap and then if he passes, your Yorvith becomes completely useless unless you pick up a Pitfall or something.
And that's an unfortunate thing there, having those two cards together. You want it with a Pitfall more than anything else.
Oh, definitely. You
also in round 2 with the threat of your opponent passing on you, because you don't have the say of the you don't have the control of it. It's almost a dead card in your hand if you think about it, because you it could end up being a useless situation if they decide to pass. That's also the problem with Pitfall in round 2. If he had Pitfall in his hand in round 2, your opponent passes. Now what are you going to do with that Pitfall?
Mm-hmm. And this is an ugly place to be right now because there's not much that can happen.
He's got to drop this. He has to drop this trap. I would have actually went for the other way around and replayed the trap rather than playing a new one, but
I actually agree with you there. I think that replaying the trap is probably a better course of play because it doesn't make your trap dead. Yeah, because because if Chezzy plays, it passes, you can just pass and the trap goes off anyways. It'll still go off on the double pass. What I'm saying is that I guess Bushwook is hoping to double play by holding onto Yorvith. He's hoping that he draws into a double Pitfall. That could be a good one, or Pit Trap. Pitfall was a really cool game on Atari back then.
I keep saying that too. I see people with Pitfall shirts lately, and I'm like, God, I gotta get that. I want to get one. All these old Atari games with shirts.
I've played Pitfall in an emulator. It is the most boring garbage game.
Yeah, but when we were kids, it was like, oh, this is so awesome. How the times have changed.
It's just like 7 pixels and a whip.
Yeah. Speaking of whips, look at nice damage play there.
Oh, so this is most likely going to be... This is Yorvith for sure. Yorvith's going to come out. It has to be.
You have to play it here. I mean, what else are you going to do? You can't. You don't want to drop that photosynthesis there, because that's your 3rd round value. But that card would get you the lead. I mean, your trap's going to go off here no matter what, right? But
yes. But this is there's absolutely no question as to what Lord Bushwick has to play here. It has to be the Yorvith. You're not going to commit 12 protected points against an opponent that obviously has a Skags. So the reason why Bushwick might be roping here is this could just be a bluff. This could just be a matter of saying, I have 2 really freaking strong cards here, or 2 maybe very bad cards here. And either way, I just want to make you think that I have a big decision I got to make. So this could be quite significant. Now, this trap's going to go off and put him in the lead by 5 points, which is really nice.
That's good. So if I was Ches here, I would be wary of going for the 2-0, only for the fact that, he doesn't know what Bush has, but it's a good guess that he has something that he's going to hold on to for round 3. Yeah. And he's got that other trap as well, so I would consider passing here.
That second trap is not all that great. It's only 4 points, swiping the back row there. But still, if you go ahead and drop Skags onto a 3-point card, it's a 10-point play. You're up to 16. It's not really all that fantastic.
Plus the Brover plays, which the
in that point you're committing, right? Mm-hmm. So you'd want to push the Brover as well. Now this is what's interesting about it. That Skags without something to hit is quite garbage. It's 7 points. But there's another Skags to match Skags with Skags. Looking at the card right now, he already tossed away 1 horn. So he could really he could whiff right now by tossing the Skirmisher into the Pitfall trap. Mm-hmm. Meaning that his Yorvith's Gambit is dead. So he might actually just hang on to that card. Now, the good thing about a 1-point Skirmisher is that it is bad for Skags, because that's not value. That's not a body that Skags can hold on to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good hand for Bushwick here, though. I will say, actually, a good hand for both players. But maybe not as much for Ches. He's got some cards that may not see some value.
Yeah, well, the good news right now is that Chezzy's, his lines of play are pretty much dictated right now. It goes, he's going to open up with Luigi in the back row, making him immune. He's going to probably play his Octfist, then he's going to play his Trap, and then he's going to see if he can connect with Skags. Both players playing cards that can't be touched right now, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. But once again, there are some issues happening with what can happen. Okay, so we're not going to see an Octfist.
Well, we're gonna see right here. Well, actually, no, you're right. It gets killed.
So this is quite interesting. I mean, Skirmisher does nothing.
This is fun interactive gameplay.
But it's tough to figure out. Like,
Skags doesn't get to hit anything. Defender,
Yeah, well,
or not Defender, Skirmisher gets no value.
Skirmisher gets no value here.
Pitfall, or Crushing Trap gets value, though.
Correct.
Yeah, what a weird third round.
This has been weird, but right now, basically what you do is, now I don't know why you'd put that on the back row. You could put this on the front row, and then go ahead and boost it back and front again, in order to make it a 5, which survives the Pitfall Trap and maybe get some bonus on your horn. But at the same time, what happens is
everybody moves from the back to the front.
Yeah, man, you're not doing anything. It's just, but this is a tough decision for Bushwick.
Okay, he gets the horn, and he's gonna boost.
Now this is a great play because he's protecting those points.
Yeah, no, that's a good call. That's a good call. So now Skags on Chez's end is not gonna be able to hit that, which is good. So it actually loses 1 value, right? So his what was the trap he played? Did he play a horn as well? No, he played.
No, that in the back row is a.
That's right. Yeah. That's
sorry, that's a.
Yeah. Well, he gets the movement, and then if we do our math here, I think he actually gets this.
He will get this probably by about. He's gonna get it by 2 points.
2 points. Yep. Well, look at that. So, because Chez saved his Brover, the Brover saved him. The Brover charges saved him from everything.
That was an interesting matchup. I will say
really
that was a little bit all over the place in terms of getting the math. Like when you have a small amount of cards at your disposal, and I mean whatever's on the board is immune and untouchable. All those interactive cards you have, like the Skags, like the Skirmisher, things like that. Your Brewer no longer can really dick around with anything on the board either. So it just comes down to a last say scenario and how you can line up your cards in the right way. And right now the series is now tied at ones apiece between King Chez of Team Leviathan Gaming and Team Rankstar's very own Lord Bushwick are going to be playing for all the marbles in one more game, Mark.
That's right. We are going to go to the third game between the two. Maybe we'll get to see Nilfgaard now from the famed Nilfgaard from Bushwick, perhaps.
Yes.
I don't think we've seen that.
Yes. With Attic Bitbird.
Yes. Or maybe not. Maybe we're going to see the... No, he played Northern Realms already, right? Wasn't that the first game?
He did, yes.
So yeah.
It looks like probably there's going to be some monsters coming our way. Most likely, if I'm not mistaken, there's a monster matchup coming over here.
Probably.
So we're going to
Shall we get to it?
Yeah, let's get to it. This is the third and final deciding match.
The final. Ooh, I was wrong about both ends.
Oh, what is wrong with you? It is the final matchup between Lord Bushwick of Team Rankstar versus Team Leviathan's King Chez for the Crimson Clash Championship. I guess we'll call it a championship. We'll call it a feather in your cap. Nonetheless, there's some cash and prizes that are associated to coming in first. So let's make it happen. All the marbles are put on the board, and here it comes. There's some easy throwaways over here, but check that out, Mark. That is Becker's Dark Mirror. That is an interesting piece. We haven't seen Iced in any of the tournament games here. He's never come into play just yet, Mark, but here he is. That's going to be looking for the win on Lord Bushwick's side.
And quick shout out and thank you to McBeard coming in with a host.
Welcome
on in, friend.
McBeans, my counterpart in the casting world.
That's right. I'm playing McBeans today.
You are totally McBeard today, my friend.
Not as handsome though, but I'm doing my best.
No, you're handsome in different ways. You're handsome in like Fahrenheit, and he's handsome in Celsius, we'll say.
Literally, because we live in two different countries.
Totally. Yeah, you're both hot in different ways.
Yeah.
So in this case,
different scales.
Different scales. Standard play coming in and discarding the Skirmisher, a 5-point non-committal play. Just a little bit of fixing of the hand, deploying a little bit of points on the board, making a presence. Now Lord Bushwick is living with that tactical advantage in his back pocket. But at the same time, Chez, once again, a lot of cards that create a masterpiece of points towards the end. A lot of engine pieces coming together. And the first one is going to be Wildam of Atra, and a non-premium Embarrassment of a Roach coming in to provide a little bit of protection on the back row.
Correct.
So as he goes ahead and grows up to 4 points. That shield is giving him a little bit of shelter, giving him the room to grow, but bleeding is going to put that out of reach. That bleeding is going to be putting a short order to that growth from the shield and not really making it worth his while to actually go ahead and establish some more, putting another shield on it.
Is this the? Do we see this? I'm trying to remember if we saw this Ches deck. I believe we saw this one in. This was the Ches deck that we saw in the semis, right?
We did. In fact, this is the Meave deck that Ches brought or played in the semis that we saw earlier today, and it's gotten all the way up to here. Ches had a very strong showing in the Swiss rounds. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he went 5-1 in Swiss, and he's all the way up now, fighting for that coveted finals championship. Again, this is when you're kind of, reciting your attributes and all the feathers in your cap. Would Crimson Clash champion be equivalent to or pretty close to Challenger 5 participant? I don't know, Mark.
I think it surpasses it, really.
This is definitely this is
more important in my opinion.
Absolutely. This is front center on your mantle, this kind of championship. So obviously Chezzy's going to be wanting to play well in order to get that. And he's boosting the Anna. Strenger in the middle row, getting some extra boost value over there, and getting a little bit of the engine pieces going. And fanning through his cards.
That artifact, that totem there is such a pain, let me tell you. That totem is a real pain. If you don't take care of that totem... I've been saying this all day, but if you don't take care of certain things right away... Oh, that's an interesting choice there. Yeah, they just get out of control.
They just get out of control.
Why do you do that?
So the reason I believe that he would put that there is because once he triggers that artifact to deal 2 damage, he is going to flip the the points on the left side. That Berserker Rage is going to turn him into a 5-point bronze. But on the right-hand side, Yuta is going to go down to 4, which means that Becker's Dark Mirror is going to mean some significant points on that Yuta. Huge points on that Yuta.
Yuta or Juta?
So I'm being half Polish. It's Juta.
Okay.
But with the J, you never know.
You never know.
Now, this is interesting that those points catching the Yuta are going to mean business for him right there, because check it out.
Look at that
Becker's Dark Mirror is an 18-point recovery. And once again, King Chezzy is probably counting his lucky stars that he's on the red coin here, and he could maybe, he can back out when he needs to, but it looks like both players might be very committed to this round. That Spores in Lord Bushwick's pocket is looking really, really sexy right now against that Willem of Atra, who is just gaining 2 points a turn. And look at this engine piece. This is absolutely filthy. By playing a small bronze card, he has made a enormous oh gosh, that pass looks very suspect here, because the engine pieces are just going to tick away. Those were 5 points a turn of just freebies. That was crazy.
Every time you said Willem, I wanted to hear Willem Dafoe. I don't know.
Well, it was Willem, and his foe apparently in that case was the bleeding, but that was taken away really, really quickly.
And look, Flake, it's Caldwell again. He's the star of this whole Final Four. I've seen him in almost everything.
Caldwell is emerging as an MVP in a lot of decks, especially decks that can dish out damage and boost ability to make sure that 10 points is a lot of points to recover from, and 8 provisions is pretty cheap for a high-end, high-ceiling card. So again, the danger is there, but at the same time, it's a lot scarier when you don't have round 1 in your pocket when you're playing Caldwell, because he could really, one card can really swing the day, and Caldwell is really a risky card to commit when you don't have a round 1 in your pocket.
So you're saying you can't count on Caldwell?
Well,
I'm sorry, I'll see myself out.
Yes, please. Just exit stage left over there. Now, Meave's coming to give Blue Stripes Commando a little bit of love and protect him from a little bit of extra thinning over there. That's 4 free points that he can potentially get out of the way. Now, looking at his hand right now, there are some cards that he could probably, drop onto the board if necessary, but we'll see what happens. That was just a throwaway bronze, I think. If Chezzy wants to go the distance in this, that's probably the only card that he's very happy to commit.
Throwing out the early Caldwell here.
And this is what is going to be difficult for Lord Bushwick, is the fact that he passed on even and lost that round, meaning that he's always going to be having to one-up his opponent in every single scenario. That puts a lot of pressure on Bushwook to play big cards and stay in this round if he doesn't want to go down an extra card. And look at Iced, he is just doing his rendition of the Thinker. He's hunched over. He is really worried. He's got anxiety. He knows that he's in a bad spot right now, being down a round and potentially down a card. Now, Chezzy doesn't want any piece of this, and that's an interesting. Pass.
I would have expected him to, with seeing how Ches was playing earlier. I would have almost expected him to push a little bit more here, but.
But if you're Bushwook right now, you're kind of happy that that's the case. But at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. You know that he passed and gave you an opportunity to go into the next round without necessarily a card disadvantage. But at the same time, you're wondering, okay, if Ches is passing here with a locked and loaded Blue Stripes Commando, his hand must be absolute pure liquid fire. It has to be crazy, because why would you not bleed more there with a thinning play coming out, extra value, etc.? It means that every single card that Chezzy has is just pure fuego.
Yep.
Pure cheese? Pure cheese from the Ches. Now opening with a dim and light longship on the front row, non-committal, easy play, nothing really going haywire there. He's not going to commit a coral yet because he doesn't really have targets to start doing damage to, but botchling's going to come out. And this could be a play to actually do some damage to the botchling. We'll see how this works out.
Ches might want to get that King of Beggars out there soon as well, so he starts getting some value. Again, we've got Corvo in hand, and we talked about earlier. You know, Corvo, you want him to get as much value as you possibly can, so...
Yeah, this is dangerous, though.
I would have held on to this. I know you want to get rid of probably that card there, but I would have held on to that play until you saw Corvo. I mean, you got to at least assume Northern Realms is playing a boost somewhere. I would have maybe held on to that, but...
Now, in terms of answers to Corvo, you do have a light longship to ping 1 damage, and you do have that special card that can deal some damage. Well, the light longship is now no longer fantastic, but because it's long gone and dead. But there are options for Bushwook to potentially deal with Corvo. But like we've had this discussion all tournament, Mark, is that a Corvo in the hand is not worth 2 in the bush.
That's right. That's right. Not worth 2 in the Bushwook.
Yeah, it's definitely not worth 2 in the Bushwook here. So now some interesting plays again. That Vest threatening Zeal. I think that in this case, I mean, if Chezzy wants to get going, he's going to need his engines to start pumping. Things like the Corvo needs to start working. The King of Beggars needs to start working.
Yeah,
but I think Chezzy is more worried right now about immediate removal. So he might... Chezzy's not a dumb player by no means. I mean, he's a top-end world-class player. He probably can suspect... Of the 7 cards that are in Bushwook's hand, he probably knows more or less what 4 or 5 of them are. And he's making those decisions right now of saying, I know of those 4 or 5 cards that I can probably suspect are in his hand, there's likely 2 cards that can remove my engines. So I want to see a few of them come out. So that's likely what's going to be happening over here. So establishing cards like, he's Selkirk is not necessarily an engine piece, but it's a bigger card than Corvo, so he doesn't... There goes the Olaf. That is a great play. The Vest coming into play to give Selkirk Zeal.
A top player who plays a non-premium Roach is what that boils down to. But anyway, he's also holding on to, what's his name? The Cockatoo guy there.
Yes, yeah. Cockatoo.
Whatever his name
Basically,
is.
yeah.
I think that's close enough. The Cockatoo guy.
Yeah, he's playing a drunk dance party in his hand over there. It's all good. But again, non-premium, so really, what the hell are you doing in life?
He drew the... oh, goodness. He drew the other Spores. I don't know if he's going to get any good value off of that. Spores. Bushwook's... He got rid of one and drew the other.
Well, we'll see how the Spores is... again, depending on how this is going to go, and a deck like Meave tends to spread around the boosts. They're not gonna. It's not like Hubert where you have last say and you can just spores it down and that's a easy answer. With Corvo and with King of Beggars in hand, that spores is probably not going to see a really sexy target in order to hit because a lot of the buffs are going to be spread around.
Oh, here we go. But okay, so now he'll get value out of. He'll get some value out of spores. I would hope, since the Corvo being dropped. What is he holding on to King of Beggars for? That's what I'm wondering. What are we looking for with that King of Beggars?
I think it's just a matter of just making sure that you're sort of seeing and taking away some of the some of it is actual answers from Chezzy. He has to play cards in order to answer bigger threats from Bushwick, but at the same time, it's just a matter of finding a window of opportunity to play it without having an opponent's threat on the board. So here it comes, and that's going to find it's going to boost up some of those bronzes in there, and the more the more turns that the King of Beggars has going on, then obviously the better it is, and Corvo's probably going to give him a little bit of love over there to make sure that it stays up on the board and generating as much points as possible.
Yeah, there it is. All right, it's as I was thinking it. Well, you should probably drop King of Beggars soon, and there you go. So
yeah, well, that's the thing. Engine pieces that stay in hand towards late game, it's silly. I mean, you're really the reason why those cards are so high provision is because they get exponentially better over time, and if it's just in your hand the entire time, you're really, what are you doing at that point? You have to reassess your life at that point. But these are some big bronze. There's big draws. There's Knut coming in. The cards that he's going to toss away, he's probably thinking his Spores better at this point with the amount of boosts that are going to be happening. He's probably considering his options because one of those special cards are probably going to bite it. But he knows there's a 7-point special in his hand that's guaranteed, and he's wondering, is the Spores going to be better?
No, I'm worried about that Spore value. I think getting rid of it is probably a good idea.
And there that goes. Corvo's going to be spreading the love around, so I don't know if Spores is probably the best option. But now in this case, his my goodness, the name is escaping me at this point.
Which one?
The bronze special card in Lord Bushwick's hand.
Oh yeah, we'll just call it the bear thing.
All right, Bare Knuckles. Bare Knuckles is unfortunately not exactly finding the optimal target to connect with right now in order to spawn a 5-point Angry Beast, but still at the same time, there's still a lot of game to be played.
Yeah, it's still anyone's round here. I mean, deficit's not too bad. And who's the target on the... Oh, goodness, on that special card? We're going to the Bear Claw. Who's he bringing out of the graveyard, Flake? Let's talk about that. Who's Bushwick taking out of the graveyard here?
It's going to be Knut 100%. It could be Utah if necessary, but Knut is going to be coming out to connect with... It's going to be Johnny Utah.
Johnny
Utah's... Yeah. It's going to be Knut. Knut's going to come out and connect with our lovely Angry Bear, who's ripping off an arm over there. And that's essentially what's going on. So, besides the fact that I'm getting absolutely roasted for calling it Knut.
Knut? You mean Newt?
Whatever, man. I call it whatever the hell I want. It doesn't matter. The fact remains that you understand what I'm talking about, but that is definitely the target coming out. And if you can find me a phonetic pronunciation of that name and prove it, then exactly. Everyone has their own way of saying it. Is it Utah or Juta? It doesn't matter. You know what I'm talking about.
Utah.
Absolutely.
Like the state.
No big deal. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah, let's just call him Nutty and be done with it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Alrighty, so in this case right now, the points stand at 22-15. Bushwick is down the card there, but he is up the points, which is nice. He does have the option. The ice is still there. Chezzy has some great cards still going, and Corvo is still pumping away, putting some beautiful sauce on the board. And look at that. That's a nice dual card in the back row that's going to cause some havoc, especially with that shield as backup. There is going to be a lot of sauce happening over here because Chezzy is now really bolstering that wonderful, wonderful dual card in the range row.
Yep, the bleeding on Corvo was, I think, a little too late, unfortunately.
That's the fact. I wonder, he could still beef it up. Now, here's the thing. Those bare knuckles in the hand could potentially connect with the Knut, but at the same time, at what point is that card just going to be, lost value? You could connect it right now if you want with the Selkirk in the front row, but opting instead to go ahead and do a little bit more damage and hang on to that card. But the finisher for Bushwick is still in the bag. It's still a significant amount of points, but we're going to see how this works out. But there you go. Now he has several options to potentially connect, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, the Hawkfist is going to get nice value here. The Lacerate's going to get great value here. Ches just has a lot of good damage value right now.
Oh, yeah. That Lacerate is looking mighty fresh right now.
It's going to be quite disgusting.
And once again, all the the two engine pieces from Chezi are just chugging away and developing points well beyond their reach. I mean, King of Beggars has connected 3 times already. The Corvo has already generated about 6 to 8 points in himself, protecting players. And those points that Corvo is giving up right now are being thrown onto cards like the dual card, which really those points become twice as valuable for every point that is being dueled right now. So it's looking really, really good for Chezi. And again, this is the third and final game. It's anybody's game right now. But, looking at the cards that are going on in both players' hands, that Lacerate representing solid 10 on the front row of Bushwook, but it's with all those engines still pumping away, it's really spooky about how this is going to turn out.
Spooky.
So many different ways.
So, what is the card that Chezi has? The Cockatoo guy. What is his actual ability? I'm not. I've never actually played that card.
His ability is to purify adjacent
right.
units.
So he's going to purify those bleedings, I'm assuming.
That would be the optimal play right now. But at the same time, if you don't do it, you're getting an extra bump off of King of Beggars, but that's not worth it. You want to purify right now because the payoff is either 1 King of Beggars point or the 2 that you're saving. So that's the right play over there. And 2 more ticks from Corvo, and you still have the duel going on in the back row. Ockfist is primed and ready. He's locked and loaded to go ahead and unleash. There's so much that can be done right now.
Here comes a juicy Lacerate incoming.
Yeah, the Lacerate's going to be the last play coming from Chezi, but at the same time, Bushwook he himself has quite the arsenal ready to fire with, his leader ability still going on, and Chezi is really just beefing up to make sure that he has walked away.
Couldn't he have brought back Judah? Couldn't he have?
He knows that it's over. He cannot compete, and the gentleman's pass on both sides has wrapped up this tournament. Lovely, amazing.
Should he have kept going there? Should he have kept going there, Flake? Or
no,
just knew it was done. He just knew it was done, right?
Oh, 100%. He could have played down a 20-point card if Bushwook could have played a 20 to 25-point card, and that the dueling ability with the shield protection would have put this in another dimension, and it wasn't even close. Nonetheless, this was a fantastic tournament. This was Crimson Clash presented by Team Rankstar and sponsored by Inked Gaming. And here it is, the final bracket, ladies and gentlemen. Mark, will you want to walk us through all the way up to the finals?
Absolutely. So in the semifinals, we saw Lord Bushwook taking on Ryan, with Lord Bushwook coming out victorious. We saw King Chez taking on Survey, who we kept calling Servo for some reason, and King Chez coming through victorious there. And then we went to the third place match, and we got to watch Survey take on Ryan. Survey coming through victorious, taking third place. Lord Bushwook and King Chez went head-to-head in the finals, with King Chez taking the crown, if you will, pun intended. So King Chez is your Crimson Clash champion, Lord Bushwook second place, Survey in third, and Ryan Godric coming through with his fourth place win. Congratulations to all the players, all 30 of our players that took part in the Crimson Clash, and congratulations to all top 8 and our top 4 finishers, and then our top 3.
Yeah, it was a fantastic tournament all the way around. Some great players have competed, signed up, and went through the 6 rounds of Swiss to become a top 8, which then became the top 4 that you saw here today as part of the Crimson Clash broadcast, and it was the Crimson Clash broadcast, yes.
Crimson Clash broadcast, yes.
Featuring Crimson Curse cards. There's so much to say. It's just a giant word jumble. But Markthius, thank you so much for the commentary. Always a pleasure, my friend. And to everybody out there spectating, thank you very much for tuning in. And to our chief and head sponsor, Inked Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out inkedgaming.com for all your awesome stuff.
Absolutely.
We're going to go ahead and why don't we
show it one more time? Should we show it one more time?
Let's go show it one more time real quick.
There you go.
We are sponsored by Inked Gaming. Here we go. There's the Team Rankstar official mouse pad. You can get all your peripherals, your computer gaming peripherals, and tabletop gaming stuff at Inked Gaming, customized and shipped right to your door. High quality, high class Inked Gaming. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much. Yep. And again, big congratulations to King Chez, and valiant effort from our friend Lord Bushwook, and to all the participants. You guys rocked sauce. Mark, did you have a good time, my friend?
I sure did, Flake. Always a good time when we get to do any projects together. So
heck yes,
we had a good time putting this together. If you just joined us at the end there and you missed the broadcast, don't worry. There's going to be a replay of this later today during North American friendly primetime hours, and then
Prime
it'll
time
be housed on the Team Rankstar YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. So you did not miss any of the action. And once again, thank you to all the 30 participants that took place in the Crimson Clash, and to everyone that signed up. We hope to see you again. We plan to do more of these in the future. So this was kind of TRS's first venture into doing a Gwent tournament, and I think it went pretty darn well, especially our broadcast here. But Flake, you and I always put on a good show, so who am I kidding? Of course we knew that was going to go well.
We do what we can. We do what we can. But the
we do what we
production
can.
Top-notch, Markthius, so thank you for that. And I just want to remind everybody that this tournament is our first go here at Team Rankstar in order to sort of put on a good show. So the format, the prizes, etc., are always subject to change in terms of future things. But we want to hear what is your feedback on the on the
you can
tournament
send it
itself.
to us right here during our little tags. These are our Twitter tags right here.
Yes.
You can let us know there, or you can @ Team Rankstar on Twitter, or hit up the Discord. The Team Rankstar Discord, and just give your feedback on the production, the tournament, whatever, and we'll improve all the good stuff and make the next one even greater.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for tuning in. For myself here, Flake, it's nice to have you guys here. Thank you so much. Be kind to one another. Markthius.
Yes, sir.
Well, I thank you as well, friend.
Thank you.
And from all of us here at Team Rankstar and Inked Gaming, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you in the future. Adios.